Chapter 2738. Boom! In that instant, all the sword shadows slammed into the main door of the temple. A destructive wave of air immediately surged out in all directions with an earth-shattering momentum. The barrier that enveloped the mountain peak was completely shattered. However, the temple was like a towering mountain that stood in front of them without moving at all. The main door didn't move either. It was as if the 3001 sword shadows had slammed into a hard rock. This, Qin Feiyang was dumbfounded. The 3000 clones couldn't help but frown. This was already their strongest move, but it still couldn't break open the main door of the temple? Could it be, all of a sudden? Qin Feiyang's gaze flickered. This temple was actually a heaven-defying divine weapon? Haha, how is it? Do you feel very helpless? As long as I'm here, you'll never leave this place alive. Because I already control all the ferocious beasts in the forest of gods and demons. In other words, all the giant beasts in the forest of gods and demons are rushing here now. Ha, just wait for despair. The fire dragon laughed maniacally. What? Qin Feiyang's gaze flickered. All the ferocious beasts in the forest of gods and demons were rushing here now? If that was the case, no matter how heaven-defying their moves were, they would be exhausted to death sooner or later. Qin Feiyang shouted, "Wang Ming, Yang Li, lend me your divine arts." Lend me your divine arts? What does that mean? The 6 of them were bewildered. But Wang Ming and Yang Li understood why. The Heaven-Vanquishing Sword Array, God-Vanquishing Sword Array, Dragon-Slaying Array, and Dragon-Subduing Killing Array, the 4 most powerful killing arrays appeared in an instant. Copy! Qin Feiyang roared. The 3000 clones immediately activated the Eye of Heaven, and the 4 killing arrays were instantly copied. 4 killing arrays and 3000 clones, that was a total of 12,000 killing arrays that covered half the sky. Boom! Clang! A terrifying aura and a world-destroying sharpness shattered the heavens and the earth. The giant beasts that were rushing towards the white-eyed wolf and the others were all killed by this aura and sharpness. I see. At this moment, the old man and his crew finally came to a realization. This was the so-called borrowing. The combination of the Eye of Heaven and the 3000 incarnations was truly despairing. Just like now, none of them had the confidence to take on these 12,000 killing formations. Terrifying, truly terrifying. Destroy the divine palace. Qin Feiyang roared. Under the control of the 3000 incarnations, the 12,000 killing formations instantly turned into a torrent and blasted towards the mountain peak. Boom! Rumbling sounds immediately resounded, like endless thunderclaps ringing in the ears. The destructive aura that was born from the collision swept out in all directions like crushing dry weeds. The mountains, the earth, and the void within millions of miles were all collapsing and sinking. Dodge! Madman's expression changed and he immediately roared. This destructive aura could even kill them instantly. Where can you hide? Wang Ming, Yang Li, the old man, and the others also changed their expressions. The entire world was drowned by this aura. Run as far as you can, quick! Madman roared. Yang Li waved his hand and swept up the white-eyed wolf, Wang Ming, and Madman. Then he activated a supreme-level auxiliary spell and fled into the distance without looking back. Seeing this, the 6 old men also activated their supreme-level auxiliary spells and followed closely behind Madman and the others. Roar! However, the giant beasts in all directions acted as if they didn't see them and continued to attack Madman and the others. Boom! The shockwave rolled over. All the beasts were instantly killed, and not a single one was left alive. Dozens of breaths later. Fuck. This is too terrifying. If we didn't escape quickly, I'm afraid we would have died under this aura. Madman and the others fled into the mountains and jumped to the top of a giant mountain peak. They looked at the ground in front of them with lingering fear. The area around the temple had become a death zone, and not a single blade of grass was left. Not a single giant beast could be found. That destructive aura turned into a terrifying storm that howled in the void, and no one dared to step into it. I wonder if we can blast open the temple. Madman muttered. If we can't blast open the temple with this, it means that the temple itself is a heaven-defying divine artifact. Yangli said. Roar. Suddenly, the roars of beasts sounded from behind them. The group of people hurriedly turned around and saw that in the void behind them, hordes of giant beasts were roaring and charging towards them. Why are there so many? The enchanting woman's face turned pale. White-eyed wolf, Wang Ming, Yangli, senior brother Madman, all the beasts in the divine demon forest are now under the control of the fire dragon. You must be careful. At this moment, Qin Feiyang's roar came from the direction of the temple. What? All the giant beasts in the divine demon forest are now under the control of the fire dragon. The group's eyes trembled. Didn't this mean that they had to face all the giant beasts in the divine demon forest? Who knew how many giant beasts there were in the divine demon forest? Could they kill all of them? Huff. Madman took a deep breath and looked at the white-eyed wolf and Wang Ming. Seems like we've truly reached a moment of life and death. The white-eyed wolf and Wang Ming looked at each other. Yang Li chuckled. Let's wait and see. Let's see if we kill all of them or if they kill us. You can still laugh? Little devil child frowned. Since it's already a dead end, what's the use of frowning? We might as well look on the bright side. Yang Li said. That's right. My injuries are almost healed. Let's get ready for battle. Wang Ming looked at the giant beasts that were swarming over and laughed. The white-eyed wolf looked at Wang Ming and Yang Li. There's something I have to tell you so that you can be mentally prepared. What is it? Everyone looked at him suspiciously. This innate divine ability that deprives you of your cultivation can only last for an hour. The white-eyed wolf said. What? An hour? The expressions of the straw shoes old man and the other 5 instantly changed. Madman frowned and asked, what about after an hour? Then it can only be activated tomorrow. The white-eyed wolf said. In other words, your innate divine ability can only be activated once a day for an hour each time? Madman said. That's right. The white-eyed wolf nodded. An hour, Madman murmured and laughed. Then I'll hold on for an hour first. After that, I'll come and protect you. You? Wang Ming and Yang Li stared blankly at Madman. Don't forget, I still have the Blood Fiend 6 styles and the profound divine ability of the Law of Slaughter. Madman said proudly. Phew. Wang Ming and Yang Li looked at each other, exhaled deeply, and shouted, let's fight. The battle started again. At the same time. The temple. Qin Feiyang stood in the square with his 3,000 clones standing behind him as usual. At this moment, they all stared fixedly at the divine palace. The dust gradually dissipated. The temple was revealed. When they saw the temple, the expressions of Qin Feiyang and his 3,000 clones froze. Even after being bombarded by 12,000 killing arrays, the temple was still, undamaged. At that moment, Qin Feiyang truly felt helpless. Haha, how is it? Do you know how strong the temple is now? The fire dragon laughed loudly, filled with provocation and contempt. This is truly a heaven-defying divine artifact, Qin Feiyang whispered. That's right. This is a heaven-defying divine artifact. I don't mind telling you that there's also the inheritance of the power of laws inside. The fire dragon said. What? Qin Feiyang's gaze flickered. The inheritance of the power of laws? How was that possible? Previously, King Yu said that there was indeed a chance of comprehending the power of laws after passing the test of the divine demonic forest. However, there was no real inheritance of the power of laws. In the divine demonic forest, there are two ways to comprehend the power of laws. The fire dragon said. 2 ways? Qin Feiyang frowned. That's right. The first way is to pass the test of the illusion. The illusion of the divine demonic forest is evolved from the power of laws. In the illusion, one can find the profound meaning of the power of laws and comprehend its essence. There is a chance of comprehending the power of laws. The fire dragon seemed to be in a good mood as he explained slowly. Qin Feiyang suddenly realized something. However, compared to the second way, the first way has a lot of risk. Because one's soul will automatically disappear after 3 days in the illusion. In just 3 days, almost no one can find the profound meaning of the power of laws and comprehend its essence to break the illusion. Therefore, the first method is to take a person's life. Many people don't even understand what is going on before their soul disappears. As for the second way, there is naturally no such risk. Because this is a direct inheritance. As long as you have talent and comprehension, you will be able to gain something. The fire dragon said. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, So you've been occupying this shrine? Occupying? No, no, no. I am here to guard this place under orders. The fire dragon said. Under orders? Qin Feiyang was taken aback. His eyes dimmed slightly as he asked, Whose orders? Ice dragon? Small beast? No matter if it's an ice dragon or a small beast, can you beat them? If I can't beat them, what's the point of telling you? The fire dragon's tone was full of disdain. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice, Even if you don't say it, should be able to guess. It should be Ice Dragon. After all, hell is his world. Ice Dragon's world? Ha, how preposterous. The fire dragon laughed. Qin Feiyang was surprised. Listening to the fire dragon's words, could it be that it was not? Everything in this world only has one master, and that is the creation God. Take the black tortoise world for example. Although it is in your hands now, as long as the creation God is willing, he can immediately take it back. And you are powerless to resist. The fire dragon said contemptuously. Creation God. Qin Feiyang's body trembled slightly as he said in a deep voice, You have seen the creation God? Are you stupid? A supreme existence like the God of creation is not something that ants like us can see. The fire dragon said in disdain. Well then, answer me. Is this hell the third level of the God level? Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. You really want to know? The fire dragon pondered for a while and asked. Chapter 2739. Here, the fire dragon whetted Qin Feiyang's appetite and said, This is the third floor of the miracle. What? Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled as he glanced around. It was really the third floor of the miracle. The fire dragon said again, You have been to this temple before. Been here before? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Yes. Try to recall, before entering the ancient world, did you come to the third floor? The fire dragon asked. Before entering the ancient world, Qin Feiyang murmured. His sealed memories emerged like a tide. That year, he brought everyone into the miracle. In order to confirm the death of his cousin and the inner demons, he asked the fire python to let him enter the third floor. For the sake of their friendship, the fire python also helped him. At that time, after entering the third floor, they landed in a hall. There was nothing in the hall. But this hall was very sturdy. At that time, they couldn't blast open the door of the hall. So, they left it at that and opened the space-time gate to return to the second floor and then entered the ancient world. Although the process was very short, he remembered every detail at that time. According to what the fire dragon said, the hall they entered back then was this temple in front of him. This sudden truth made it hard for Qin Feiyang to accept. Once, he was only one step away from the Nether King's hell. If he could blast open the door back then, he could directly enter the Nether King's hell. In other words, he returned to this place after taking a big detour. The door of the temple that he tried to blast open was the hall he had been to before. This was such a comical and dramatic scene. Do you feel particularly annoyed? The Nether King's hell was clearly in front of you, but you had to take a big detour from the ancient world. The fire dragon joked. Qin Feiyang clenched his hands and said in a deep voice, "No, if the temple is really that hall, why didn't I see you back then? Didn't I feel the existence of the time array? Because the temple has a total of 2 floors. Back then, you were on the first floor. At that time, I was also on the second floor and saw you with my own eyes." The fire dragon sneered. "The second floor," Qin Feiyang murmured and shook his head violently. "I don't believe it." "You don't believe me? Then do you know where your inner demons and Lu Jiajin died? They died in the divine devil forest." "Haha," the fire dragon laughed wildly. "What?" Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled as he turned to look at the divine devil forest. This was where Big Cousin and the inner demon had died, once. He had countless illusions and countless lucky chances that his inner demon and his eldest cousin might still be alive. Although he rarely mentioned these things, anyone who knew him well knew that he could not accept the deaths of inner demon and inner demon. He had always had hope, but now, the fire dragon's words had undoubtedly extinguished the last shred of hope in his heart. Pain. His heart began to ache. The anger and grief in his heart were uncontrollable. The fire dragon, the ice dragon, the golden small beast, all of them deserved to die. All of them deserved to die. Boom! A wave of murderous energy surged out of his body. Clang! A loud sound rang in the air. The Crimson Sword Soul, the 9-leaf fire lotus, appeared. "I don't care if you can understand what I'm saying. You must destroy this temple today," Qin Feiyang roared. However, the 2 war souls hovered in the air. They did not move at all. "Do it!" Qin Feiyang roared. His eyes were bloodshot. Clang! The Crimson Sword Soul trembled in the air. A destructive aura swept out. The 9-leaf fire lotus surged with waves of fire and released a terrifying aura. "This is," the fire dragon exclaimed in shock. "I don't care about the legacy of laws, much less the time formation. I only want it destroyed," Qin Feiyang roared. The 2 war souls immediately charged toward the temple. Rumble. The huge peak beneath their feet trembled. The void and the ground shattered and caved in. What's going on? Even the madman and the others who were millions of miles away could sense the terrifying aura and Qin Feiyang's towering rage. "This is, Crimson Sword Soul, the 9-leaf fire lotus. I didn't expect the temple to force little Qin Z to this extent," the white-eyed wolf muttered to himself. However, what was with Qin Feiyang's rage? Boom! On the peak of the mountain, accompanied by an earth-shattering boom, the 2 fighting souls slammed into the temple. The temple began to tremble as well. Cracks appeared on the peak, the plaza, and the huge peak. "They're so powerful?" The fire dragon was shocked. If this were to continue, the temple might really be destroyed. "Shatter it!" Qin Feiyang roared hysterically. Crack! A crack suddenly appeared on the roof of the temple. "Damn it! Why is it so powerful?" The fire dragon's expression changed drastically when he saw the crack. He could no longer remain calm. Swoosh! At this moment, a golden small beast appeared silently in the air. The small beast was only the size of a palm. Its body was like a frog, but its body was covered in golden scales. It hovered in the air and looked down at Qin Feiyang. There was a hint of displeasure in its golden eyes. Suddenly, another figure appeared silently next to the small beast. He looked down at Qin Feiyang and frowned. What's going on? This person was none other than Ice Dragon. Needless to say, the small beast was the golden small beast that took away Chang Shui and sealed the ancient castle. Isn't it obvious? This kid wants to overturn the heavens. The small beast pursed its lips. Overturn the heavens? The ice dragon was stunned. He looked down at Qin Feiyang and shook his head. Boss Frog, to be honest, his two war souls really need to be sealed. Sealed, the small beast remained silent. With these two war souls, who else in the world can suppress him except for us? It has seriously damaged the balance of the world. The ice dragon sighed. That's true. The small beast nodded and grabbed its golden claws. Two rays of golden light emerged. The furious Qin Feiyang immediately quivered and raised his head abruptly to look. It's you again. When he saw the small beast and the ice dragon, Qin Feiyang was instantly furious. However, the ice dragon and the small beast turned a deaf ear to him. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang noticed the two rays of golden light and realized that they were directed at the two war souls. He said angrily, "What are you doing?" However, the ice dragon and the small beast still ignored him. Clang! Boom! The two war souls seemed to have sensed the danger and rushed toward the two rays of golden light. It's okay to be arrogant in front of the ice dragon, but how dare you be so arrogant in front of Boss Frog? The little golden beast snorted coldly and shouted, "Seal for me." The two rays of golden light immediately entered the two war souls. Immediately, the aura of the two war souls began to dissipate. The golden light sealed them and then they returned to Qin Feiyang's body. Seal? Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. He hurriedly controlled the two war souls. However, rays of golden light emerged and cut off the connection between him and the two war souls. Even the war souls have been sealed, Qin Feiyang was stunned. He suddenly looked up at the golden small beast and said angrily, "You took away Chang Shui, sealed the ancient castle, and now sealed the two war souls. What are you trying to do?" "What am I trying to do? Isn't it obvious? Boss Frog just wants to see your helpless and desperate look." The golden small beast said. "Bastard, bastard. What did I do to offend you? Why are you doing this to me? I don't accept this." Qin Feiyang was seething with anger. "If you don't accept this, you can only hold it in." The golden small beast smiled disdainfully and said, "However, Boss Frog can also give you a chance." Qin Feiyang was stunned and said in a low voice, "What chance?" The golden small beast waved its claws and a fire dragon suddenly appeared above the mountain peak. "Greetings, Lord Ice Dragon and Lord Beast God." The fire dragon immediately prostrated on the ground and greeted respectfully. The golden small beast said, "You two fight." "What?" Qin Feiyang was stunned and turned to look at the fire dragon. The fire dragon was also stunned and looked down at Qin Feiyang. "Let them fight?" What did that mean? The golden small beast looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "If you win against the fire dragon, Boss Frog will not only allow you to enter the second level of the temple, but also fulfill one of your requests." Qin Feiyang's eyes suddenly lit up and asked, "Any request?" "Of course, not. If you ask Boss Frog to die, then Boss Frog will suffer a great loss." The golden small beast said. "You are also afraid of death?" Qin Feiyang sneered. "Boss Frog wants to die, but it's difficult because in this world, other than Boss Frog, no one can kill Boss Frog. The golden small beast shook its head with a helpless look. Qin Feiyang was angry and wanted to laugh at the same time. Finally, he met a guy who could act better than the white-eyed wolf. Same. The golden small beast looked at the fire dragon and said, "If you can kill Qin Feiyang, then Boss Frog will allow you to enter the 4th level of the temple." The 4th level of the temple. The fire dragon's body suddenly trembled. What? There's a 4th level of the temple? Qin Feiyang was shocked. Of course. The 4th level is the real king's land. There, even undead realm experts are as common as dogs. The golden small beast said. Omnipotent experts are also as common as dogs. Qin Feiyang's body and mind trembled. How many places in this world were there that he didn't know? Then let's begin. The golden small beast said. Qin Feiyang, don't blame me. The temptation of the 4th level is too great. Go to hell. The fire dragon roared and immediately swung its giant tail at Qin Feiyang. You're the one who should die. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and threw a punch at the dragon's tail without holding back. Boom! In an instant. The fist and the giant tail collided. Poof! Qin Feiyang immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and flew out like a meteorite, smashing into the broken ground below. What a powerful force! Qin Feiyang was shocked. Compared to the fire dragon in the past, the current fire dragon was completely different. This power was several times more terrifying than the 10 great guardians, including the Longma. Things are different now. Killing you is just a matter of moving my finger. The fire dragon laughed and swooped down at Qin Feiyang. Its body was covered in flames and the world here became a big furnace. Chapter 2740. Qin Feiyang stood up and raised his head to look at Hong Long. Only then did he notice that there was a blood mark between the fire dragon's eyebrows. However, just like the guardian of the temple, the blood mark was fiery red and was emitting rays of fiery red divine light. It must be the power of the mark. The fire dragon's extraordinary strength must be related to the mark. Facing the current fire dragon, his fighting soul was sealed and he couldn't use his godly item due to the rules. What means did he have to defeat the fire dragon? At the thought of this, 3 words appeared in his mind. 3,000 avatars. Whoosh! Without hesitation, Qin Feiyang activated the 3,000 avatars. Although the 3,000 avatars are strong, they are useless against me. The fire dragon swooped down and opened its mouth to spit out a dragon breath, instantly crushing half of the avatars. Not only was its strength unimaginably strong, but its speed was also unmatched. Even Qin Feiyang couldn't catch up with it. Guiyuan sword technique. Qin Feiyang roared. Following his roar, the remaining half of the avatars activated the Guiyuan sword technique. More than 1,000 sword shadows appeared out of thin air and destroyed everything in their path. Kill! All the avatars roared in unison. More than 1,000 sword shadows charged toward the fire dragon in a frenzy. Clang! The sword shadows slashed the fire dragon's body and collided with the dragon scales, creating dazzling sparks and deafening sounds of metal. However, such powerful sword shadows didn't even break a single dragon scale. In other words, facing more than 1,000 sword shadows head-on, the fire dragon was unscathed. How is this possible? Qin Feiyang was in a daze. The power of the fire dragon's mark was too ridiculous. Do you think it's still the 1st and 2nd level? Without the godly weapon and godly skill, you're just an ant. I can crush you anytime. The fire dragon laughed out loud. It was in high spirits. It raised its dragon claw and crushed the 1,000 sword shadows as easily as crushing dry weeds. Puff! Qin Feiyang was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Following closely, the fire dragon raised its huge tail again and slapped the body on the ground. A fatal crisis appeared. Qin Feiyang quickly activated the heavenly deity armor. However, even the heavenly deity armor formed by a sovereign-grade divine art was instantly shattered. Qin Feiyang spat out another mouthful of blood. Like a cannonball, he smashed into the ground. The impact had almost shattered all the bones in his body. His body was also dripping with blood. His entire body was almost deformed. Huh, I really didn't expect you to be so weak. How dare you boast that you were able to kill me in the past, and you can still kill me now. The fire dragon laughed wildly. A wave of divine power rolled out and turned into a monstrous wave of fire that flooded the sky and rushed toward Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang took out a divine life pill and threw it into his mouth. Then, he slowly got up and looked at the wave of fire. The fire dragon, who had borrowed the power of the mark, was no longer someone he could deal with. Because the power of the fire dragon's mark, in a sense, was comparable to the battle strength of an imperishable stage expert. Whether it was the strength of the physical body, the power, or the divine power, they were all invulnerable. However, he would not admit defeat. In his life, there was no such thing as admitting defeat. Boom! Divine Dragon Art, Fire Phoenix Art, End of Ruins Art, Guiyuan Sword Art, Eclipse Moon, Fire Thunder Divine Art, all the sovereign-grade divine arts were activated in an instant. The divine power was vast and destructive in all directions. The will of I, Qin Feiyang, is not something an ant like you can destroy. Qin Feiyang roared and the divine arts rushed toward the wave of fire. Boom! Divine Dragon Art, collapsed. Fire Phoenix Art, collapsed. Guiyuan Sword Art, collapsed. Fire Thunder Divine Art, collapsed. One by one, the sovereign-grade divine arts collapsed and dissipated. They were no match for him at all. If it had been anyone else in this situation, they would have given up in despair. Because the fire dragon was already so powerful that people could only look up to him. But Qin Feiyang's battle intent was even more terrifying. Swoosh! 3,000 clones appeared again. All of the supreme-grade divine arts were once again unleashed. This time, it was 3,000 times more powerful than before. Divine Dragon Art, 3,000. Fire Phoenix Art, 3,000. Fire Thunder Divine Art, 3,000. Guiyuan Sword Art, 3,000. Eclipse Moon, End of Ruins Art, Qilin Art, and even the Soul Destruction Art were activated. 8 sovereign-grade killing techniques. At this moment, all the divine arts added up to a total of 24,000. This was twice as many as when he had activated the Eye of Heaven to copy Wang Ming and Yang Li's divine arts. Boom! With a wave of Qin Feiyang's hand, more than 20,000 divine arts rushed forward. The divine arts shattered continuously. But the fire wave formed by divine power also gradually dissipated. The fire dragon looked at this scene in shock. It was Qin Feiyang to begin with, but because of the 3,000 clones, Qin Feiyang's battle strength had increased by 3,000 times. What surprised it the most was that after all these years, Qin Feiyang had already mastered so many sovereign-grade divine arts. 8 great killing techniques, plus the Wisdom King Golden Body, Armor of the Gods, and Heavenly Dragon's 9 steps. Didn't that mean that he now had 11 sovereign-grade divine arts? One person actually had so many sovereign-grade divine arts. How terrifying. And it remembered that the Guiyuan Sword Art, Eclipse Moon, and End of Ruins Art were only battle techniques back then. But now, they had all been upgraded to the sovereign grade. However, this didn't seem to be a big deal when it happened to Qin Feiyang. Because this person was full of miracles. Boom! More than half of the divine arts shattered, the fire wave was finally annihilated, and the remaining divine arts drowned the fire dragon. 24,000 divine arts. Even if more than half were shattered, there were still 7,000 to 8,000 left. This destructive force could be imagined. Within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles, everything turned into nothingness in an instant. However, when the dust settled, revealing the fire dragon's figure, the fire dragon was still unharmed. There was a layer of fiery red divine light shield on its body. And this was the power of the mark. In other words, the power of this mark helped the fire dragon block all the divine arts. Who was the owner of this mark? Ice dragon? Small beast? Or the god of creation? It was terrifying to such an extent. Have you seen it? The mark of the dragon horse and the others is on a completely different level from this emperor's mark. With this mark, even if your methods are heaven-defying, you can forget about hurting this emperor's dragon scales. You even threaten to kill this emperor? You really know how to daydream. Now, this emperor will send you to hell. The fire dragon smiled hideously, its huge body crushing the void and earth as it charged towards Qin Feiyang. Kill! Qin Feiyang roared. The 3,000 incarnations once again activated all the supreme divine arts and charged towards the fire dragon with an apocalyptic aura. But the fire dragon had no intention of dodging, allowing the divine arts to hit its body without leaving a single wound. As the last divine art was shattered, the fire dragon flew above Qin Feiyang's head, its dragon claws reaching out and grabbing Qin Feiyang. Those sharp claws immediately pierced Qin Feiyang's body, causing blood to gush out. There was no doubt that the fire dragon could crush Qin Feiyang with just a bit of strength. The excruciating pain caused Qin Feiyang's face to twist. And the 3,000 incarnations were also crushed by the fire dragon's huge tail. Are you angry? The person who lost to you in the past can now crush you like an ant? The fire dragon laughed. It's too early for you to be arrogant. Qin Feiyang roared and the Emperor Divine Prison instantly opened. The fire dragon's consciousness went blank. Although your physical body and strength have become stronger because of the mark, your consciousness is no different from ours. The Emperor Divine Prison can completely take away your consciousness. Qin Feiyang struggled to break free from the dragon claws and took out a supreme divine artifact. Of course, he didn't lack supreme divine artifacts now. He had obtained a few thousand of them in the Fallen Valley. At this moment, the supreme divine artifact he took out was a 1-meter-long battle sword. It was blood-red as if it was made of flesh and blood, emitting a shocking murderous aura. Swoosh! He suddenly jumped and landed on the fire dragon's head. Then, he grabbed the sword hilt with both hands and pointed the sword downwards. Divine power surged out and the battle sword instantly recovered. Kill! Following closely. He roared, grabbed the sword shadow and stabbed towards the fire dragon's head with all his strength. To the fire dragon, having its consciousness taken away was fatal. Because without consciousness, it couldn't borrow the power of the mark. Kacha! The dragon scales on the top of the head immediately shattered. The entire battle sword instantly sank into the fire dragon's head. Dragon blood immediately spurted out. AO! The intense pain caused the fire dragon to wake up. The mark between its eyebrows suddenly shot out a divine light and rushed towards Qin Feiyang. However, Qin Feiyang didn't dodge at all. Because he couldn't dodge. There was only this one chance. If he didn't take advantage of this opportunity to kill the fire dragon and let the fire dragon be on guard, then the next time he wanted to open the Emperor Prison, it would be very difficult to succeed. The power of the mark smashed onto his body. A head-sized bloody hole appeared on his chest, penetrating from front to back. Puff! Blood gushed out of Qin Feiyang's mouth as a sense of weakness swept over him. His aura was also declining. Die for me. Qin Feiyang gritted his teeth, roared, and smashed his fist towards the sword hilt. Clang! Immediately, the entire battle sword disappeared into the fire dragon's head. That terrifying edge tore apart the fire dragon's sea of consciousness on the spot and attacked his soul. Damn it! The fire dragon roared. The power of the mark poured into his sea of consciousness like a tide, protecting his soul. Qin Feiyang also fell down, his entire body powerlessly falling to the ground. The fire dragon isn't dead yet, I can't faint yet. Qin Feiyang muttered. With a thought, the 3,000 incarnations appeared once again. Following closely, another pile of supreme-level divine artifacts appeared. Quick, kill him! Qin Feiyang shouted weakly. The 3,000 incarnations immediately went forward, grabbing the supreme-level divine arts one by one, and then swarmed forward. Scram! The fire dragon roared as its huge tail swept out. Humph! The 3,000 incarnations used the heavenly dragon's 9 steps like ghosts. Although there were a few hundred incarnations that were swept by the huge tail and shattered on the spot, the other incarnations all rushed towards the fire dragon's head. Kill! One by one, the supreme-level divine artifacts crazily recovered, their sharpness destroying the world. Just like Qin Feiyang before. All the incarnations grabbed the supreme-level divine artifacts and pierced towards the fire dragon's already shattered head. Chapter 2741. Don't even think about it. The fire dragon roared like thunder as the power of the imprint continued to bombard the supreme-level divine artifact. In its heart, it was extremely regretful. It had already suffered a great loss in the hands of Qin Feiyang, and now it still dared to look down on him? Wasn't this stupid? However, why hadn't it seen this ability to deprive one's consciousness before? When it had fought with Qin Feiyang, it had also experienced the Emperor Prison. Didn't this Emperor Prison only have the ability to imprison? Actually, the ability to deprive one's consciousness appeared when Qin Feiyang became a god. At that time, the fire dragon had already entered the 3rd level, so it didn't know. It was precisely because it didn't know about this ability that it was caught off guard and was caught off guard. Qin Feiyang was a person who was very good at seizing opportunities. As long as there was a slight flaw, he would be able to give the opponent a fatal blow. Just like now. There was only one way to kill the fire dragon, and that was to shatter its divine soul. Please, you must kill it. Qin Feiyang swallowed the divine life pill and looked at the incarnations as he muttered to himself. There were still more than 2,000 incarnations left. Although there were incarnations being shattered every minute and every second, the remaining incarnations were all trying their best to revive the supreme-level divine artifact and kill the fire dragon. Previously, Qin Feiyang's battle sword that had pierced into the fire dragon's sea of consciousness was also resisting the power of the imprint. At this moment, the fire dragon's sea of consciousness had turned into a battlefield. Although the sharp light emitted by the battle sword was unable to break through the defense of the imprint, it caused devastating damage to the fire dragon's body. His entire head was cracking at this moment, and dragon blood was spurting out. That's it. Even if we can't break through the defense of the imprint, as long as we treat his sea of consciousness as a battlefield, his head and body will be shattered sooner or later. Once the body is shattered, only the divine soul will be left. Then there's nothing to worry about. Qin Feiyang clenched his fists tightly. Get in. Suddenly, 2 of the incarnations roared and dodged the power of the imprints. They thrust a crimson spear and a golden saber into the fire dragon's sea of consciousness. The tip of the spear and the tip of the saber pierced straight towards the fire dragon's divine soul. Immediately, with a boom, the tip of the spear and the tip of the blade collided with the power of the mark. A terrifying destructive force suddenly exploded in the fire dragon's sea of consciousness. Crack! The fire dragon let out a wail as his head instantly exploded into a mist of blood. His soul was instantly exposed. Good chance. Immediately. The eyes of the rest of the incarnations lit up. They immediately took out their supreme-level divine artifacts and attacked the fire dragon's divine soul. Boom! The power of the imprint was truly terrifying. It actually blocked all of the supreme-level divine artifacts. Even that won't do? Qin Feiyang couldn't help but feel powerless. It seemed that he had to make the power of the imprint disappear before he could kill the fire dragon. But how could he make the power of the imprint disappear? Qin Feiyang suddenly looked at a piece of flesh floating in the void. On that piece of flesh, there was a fiery red imprint. That's right. That was the piece of flesh between the fire dragon's eyebrows. Even though the head had exploded, the imprint did not disappear and was emitting a bright divine light. I have to erase this imprint. Qin Feiyang ignored the injuries on his body and suddenly stood up. Flame divine power surged out and instantly submerged that piece of flesh. The terrifying flames burned his flesh and blood. However, even though it was burned like this, the flesh did not show any signs of being incinerated. All of this was because of that imprint. The imprint was protecting that piece of flesh. Moreover, under the power of the imprint, the exploded head began to rapidly fuse and repair. What exactly do I have to do to destroy this imprint? Qin Feiyang was burning with anxiety. If he allowed the fire dragon's head to heal, then everything he had done before would be in vain. The power of the imprint is invincible. The fire dragon's soul was arrogant again. With the power of the imprint protecting it, no matter how hard the incarnations tried, they could not break the defense. There must be a way, Qin Feiyang murmured. How could a mere imprint stump him? Young master. At this moment, Wang Ming rushed over like lightning. What are you doing here? Go! Qin Feiyang's expression changed and he shouted. Of course I'm here to help you. Wang Ming smiled and landed in front of Qin Feiyang. He looked up at Small Beast and Ice Dragon and said, as long as I'm here, none of you can hurt young master. Boom! The next moment, a monstrous aura erupted. His cultivation base was instantly restored to the peak of the undead realm. The power of the rules also descended. What are you doing? Qin Feiyang's expression changed. Wang Ming turned a deaf ear to him and rushed forward to grab that piece of flesh. Divine power surged out and he clenched his 5 fingers. Don't! Fire Dragon's soul instantly roared in horror. One had to know. Wang Ming was now an ultimate imperishable realm expert. That piece of flesh was instantly smashed and the imprint was annihilated. After the imprint disappeared, the power of the imprint protecting Fire Dragon's soul also dissipated. Kill! Seeing this, all of the clones raised their supreme divine artifacts and charged toward the Fire Dragon's divine soul. Don't! Fire Dragon roared. However, at this moment, the golden small beast attacked. A golden light fell and all the incarnations were annihilated on the spot. Clang! The supreme artifacts fell to the ground. What are you doing? Qin Feiyang glared at the golden small beast. We agreed that you would fight with Fire Dragon. Now your subordinate has come to help you. It's not fair. The golden small beast said indifferently. Boom! As the golden small beast finished speaking, the power of the rules came and Wang Ming was obliterated on the spot. Wang Ming, Qin Feiyang gritted his teeth. At the same time, in the distance, Yang Li, the white-eyed wolf, the straw-sandal old man and the other 5 were also covered in blood and were in a sorry state. There were thousands of giant beasts around them and they couldn't be killed. The moment the imprint shattered, those giant beasts suddenly stopped in the void and looked at the scene in front of them with confused expressions. What's going on? Frenzy was stunned. Could it be, the next moment? Everyone looked in the direction of the temple. Yangli, the white-eyed wolf, quick! Frenzy shouted. One man and one wolf, together with Frenzy, rushed toward the temple. The straw-sandal old man and the other 5 looked at each other and followed at lightning speed. As for those giant beasts, they looked at each other and finally at the corpses all over the ground. Their pupils suddenly shrank and they immediately fled in all directions. Qin Feiyang half knelt on the ground, his face full of pain. Why was he so stupid? How long had he followed him and he was willing to give up his life for him? Was it worth it? There's nothing to be sad about. Since he removed the suppression on his cultivation, it means that he's prepared to die. The golden small beast said indifferently. What does a cold-blooded beast like you know? You say it's fair? Then tell me, is it fair that you sealed my battle soul? If you didn't seal his battle soul, why would he need to run and self-detonate? And, the fire dragon borrowed the power of the imprint. Is that fair? Qin Feiyang looked up at the golden small beast and clenched his fists. His nails dug into his flesh and blood flowed out. So what if you think it's unfair? If Lord Frog says it's fair, then it's fair. If Lord Frog says it's unfair, then it's unfair. What? You're not convinced? The golden small beast looked down at Qin Feiyang arrogantly. Understood. You're stronger than me. Qin Feiyang nodded as a cold smile appeared on his face. It's good that you understand. Although your subordinate helped you, your subordinate was also killed by the power of the rule force. So we're even. The battle between you and the fire dragon is a draw. The golden small beast said. A draw? Qin Feiyang was furious. He had spent so much effort, suffered such serious injuries, and even sacrificed Wang Ming, but in the end, it was just a draw? He hated it. Since it's a draw, then the conditions I promised you before are naturally invalid. However, since you're so pitiful, Lord Frog will allow you to enter the temple. The golden small beast waved its hand and the temple gate slowly opened. Qin Feiyang looked up at the temple at the top of the mountain and murmured, "Okay," gradually. A trace of disdain crept up in his eyes as he looked up at the golden small beast and said, "I, Qin Feiyang, don't need your charity." Huh? The golden small beast was stunned. Even without the inheritance of the power of the rule force, I can still rely on my own ability to comprehend the power of the rule force. Don't be so kind. I don't need it. Qin Feiyang shook his head disdainfully. You have backbone. The golden small beast laughed and said, "The gate is open anyway. It's up to you whether you want to enter or not." After that, the golden small beast waved its claws and disappeared without a trace with the ice dragon and the fire dragon's souls. Little Qin Zi, the white-eyed wolf, Yang Li, and the madman ran to Qin Feiyang's side. The straw shoe old man and the other 5 ran over and looked at the devastated land and Qin Feiyang's shocking injuries. They looked at each other in dismay. What on earth happened here? Why did you let Wang Ming come here? Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked at the madman, Yang Li, and the white-eyed wolf. Looking at Qin Feiyang's twisted face, the madman's eyelids twitched and he asked, "What happened to Wang Ming?" "He's dead. He was killed by the power of the rule force." Qin Feiyang lowered his head and said. "What?" The 2 men and 1 wolf's eyes trembled. "Why did you let him come here? If he didn't come, wouldn't it be fine?" Qin Feiyang said angrily. The madman hurriedly said, "We sensed the auras of the small beast and the ice dragon, so we let him come over and take a look, but we didn't expect him to." The madman's face was also full of self-blame. He was the one who asked Wang Ming to come over, so the responsibility was all on him. "Actually, you don't have to do this. Wang Ming isn't dead. Yang Li came back to his senses and smiled at the two. Not dead? Qin Feiyang and the madman were stunned. That's right. Don't you know? Before we entered the Nether King's hell, we left our souls outside. Yang Li said. That's right. The madman patted his head, completely forgetting about this matter. He's not dead, Qin Feiyang muttered. He immediately beamed with joy. Previously, he had truly forgotten about this matter. Yang Li smiled and said, so, we didn't lose anything this time? Good, good, good. Qin Feiyang nodded and said, when we go back, I'll definitely compensate him well. With that, he looked at Yang Li and smiled. And you, thank you for fighting side by side with us. It's my duty. Yang Li scratched his head, feeling a little uncomfortable for a moment. Qin Feiyang smiled and looked around. He whispered, all right, we've finally passed this tribulation. I should rest for a while. With that, Qin Feiyang's body went limp and he fell to the ground. Yang Li's expression changed and he hurriedly went forward to support Qin Feiyang. He shouted, young master, don't die. The madman and the white-eyed wolf's expressions also changed. After checking, they found that Qin Feiyang was only seriously injured and unconscious. Only then did they heave a sigh of relief. Chapter 2742. The madman took out a divine life pill and placed it in Qin Feiyang's mouth before sweeping his gaze across the ground. Over 1,000 supreme-grade divine artifacts were scattered on the ground. Some were already cracked. Some were even broken. Not only is he heavily injured, but he also used so many supreme-grade divine artifacts. Just how strong is the fire dragon? The madman frowned. At the same time, the grass sandal old man and the other 5 scanned the floor with their eyes, and their hearts were filled with astonishment. Qin Feiyang actually had so many supreme-grade divine artifacts. Although they were all hidden experts, this was the first time they had seen over 1,000 supreme-grade divine artifacts. Greed couldn't help but rise in their hearts. Even if they didn't obtain any heaven-defying treasures or the inheritance of laws, it was worth it to obtain so many divine artifacts. The madman glanced at the 6 people and said to Yang Li and the white-eyed wolf, be careful of these 6 people. At the same time, he waved his hand and put all the divine artifacts into his yin and yang ring. The 6 people looked at the madman. The madman raised his eyebrows and said, these are our divine artifacts. Can't I put them away? Of course, of course. We didn't say anything. The green-robed old woman smiled. The white-eyed wolf and Yang Li looked at the 6 people with unfriendly gazes. The 6 of them had followed them all the way here. What were their intentions? They couldn't be careless, it wasn't easy to get here, so they didn't want to fail miserably. Don't misunderstand. We don't have any ill intentions. We are purely here for the inheritance of laws. The madman smiled. The white-eyed wolf and the madman were silent. Humph. The muscular man suddenly snorted coldly. He looked at the madman and the white-eyed wolf and said expressionlessly, compared to the inheritance of laws, I'm more interested in you guys. The madman's heart skipped a beat. Big guy, what are you going to do? The madman looked at the muscular man and couldn't help but frown. Who in the divine land doesn't know about the treasures Qin Feiyang has? Heaven-defying divine art, heaven-defying divine weapon, and an independent small world. Especially the slaughter domain and the small world. They are probably more precious than the so-called inheritance. Could it be, at this point, the burly man looked at the straw-sandal old man and asked, aren't you tempted by these divine items at all? The straw-sandal old man fell silent. The little demon child, the green-robed old woman, the golden-robed man, and the enchanting woman all lowered their heads, their eyes flickering. In the past, because of the strength of the madman and Qin Feiyang, no one dared to make a move. But now, Qin Feiyang is seriously injured and unconscious. Madman also lost his ability to fight. Wang Ming was also killed by the power of the rules. Now, only Wolf King and Yang Li are left. Do you want to miss such a good opportunity? The burly man looked at the 5 of them and shouted. The 5 people shuddered, looking up at Qin Feiyang's group. In any case, I don't want to miss it. The burly man smiled coldly and looked at the white-eyed wolf and the madman. Hand over Qin Feiyang and I'll let you go. The white-eyed wolf, the madman, and Yang Li looked at each other. As expected, they couldn't help but attack. Think about your current situation. The burly man said. That's right. Qin Feiyang is unconscious and the madman has no ability to fight. As for the white-eyed wolf and Yang Li, you were also injured in the previous battle. If you resist now, it won't do you any good. The green-robed old woman took a step forward and landed beside the burly man. Obviously, she had decided to make a move against Qin Feiyang and the others. Although it's a bit of a precarious situation, it can't be helped. Who asked you to be so strong? If we don't take action now, we won't have a chance at all. The little demon child also took a step forward. Seeing this, the straw sandals old man, the golden-robed man, and the enchanting woman also silently walked to the side of the 2. The madman looked at the 6 of them and said, So, you are determined to take advantage of the situation? Be sensible. This way, you still have a way to live. The burly man said coldly. The madman said, If we hand over Qin Feiyang to you, will you really let us go? Yes. I swear. The burly man nodded. The reason why he didn't snatch it was because he was afraid of the white-eyed wolf's strength. Although the white-eyed wolf was injured in the previous battle, it wouldn't do them any good if they forced it to fight with their lives. Because the ability to deprive one's cultivation was too terrifying. Even if they could kill the white-eyed wolf in the end, they would probably have to pay a heavy price. Let us go, the madman murmured and sneered, then aren't you afraid that we will take revenge on you later? Revenge? As long as we get Qin Feiyang's heaven-defying artifact and heaven-defying art, do we still need to be afraid of your revenge? The green-robed old woman laughed sinisterly. That's true. Any one of Qin Feiyang's heaven-defying artifacts is enough to make people tremble in fear. The madman nodded. The burly man shouted, So stop talking nonsense and give Qin Feiyang to us. Sigh. At this moment, the white-eyed wolf sighed. The 6 of them looked at the white-eyed wolf. The white-eyed wolf said, Do you know how I and little Qin Zi have come all the way here? I'm not interested in listening to your nonsense. Don't test our patience. The burly man said. The white-eyed wolf turned a deaf ear and said, I and little Qin Zi have known each other since we were young. I remember that at that time, he had just stepped onto the path of cultivation, and I was about the same. I said, I don't want to hear your story. The burly man interrupted the white-eyed wolf, killing intent flashing in his eyes. The white-eyed wolf still turned a deaf ear and continued to speak. We've encountered countless hardships and dangers along the way, but we've never given up on each other even when we've been through life and death situations. Although I'm usually harsh with my words, no one can replace little Qin Zi in my heart. With such a deep relationship, do you think I'll abandon him and live alone? The white-eyed wolf looked at the 6 of them and said. The green-robed old woman laughed sinisterly and said, So you're saying that you want to go against us? That's not right. The white-eyed wolf shook his head and waved his claws. I'm not going against you. You're the ones, courting death. As he said the last word, the golden beast shadow of the war soul instantly roared out. Kill it! The burly man shouted. They tried their best to avoid fighting the white-eyed wolf, but in the end, they could not avoid it. Clang! The 6 of them attacked together. The 6 supreme divine artifacts were instantly awakened, exuding an aura of destruction. The white-eyed wolf shouted, "Yang Li, take the madman and little Qin Zi in retreat, lest they accidentally hurt you." Yang Li nodded, swept up Qin Feiyang and the madman, and turned to leave. But suddenly, Yang Li stopped and turned to look at the white-eyed wolf. "Brother Wolf, I know you're very angry now, but don't forget young master's intentions." After saying that, he flashed away like lightning. "Little Qin Zi's intentions," the white-eyed wolf murmured. Yang Li was obviously hinting that he could not deprive the 6 of their cultivation. Because Qin Feiyang intended to take these 6 people under his command. If he deprived them of their cultivation, they would lose their value. But what was the point of keeping people like these? Forget it. Let's keep them for now and wait for little Qin Zi to deal with them. The white-eyed wolf sighed, and the golden beast's shadow dissipated. The 6 people looked at the white-eyed wolf in astonishment. Why did he suddenly withdraw his war soul? "I don't need to activate my war soul to deal with you." The white-eyed wolf's face was full of disdain. "Bastard, I'll kill you." The 6 people were furious. How dare he look down on them like this? The 6 supreme divine artifacts, with monstrous sharpness, rushed toward the white-eyed wolf. "With trash like you?" The white-eyed wolf sneered, and his body suddenly expanded in the wind, and in an instant, he became a giant wolf that was thousands of feet tall, like a mountain, with monstrous ferocity. "My war soul is not the only thing I can do." The white-eyed wolf opened his mouth, and his voice was like a bell, shaking the sky. Then he stretched out his giant claws and grabbed the 6 supreme divine artifacts with his bare hands. What? The 6 people's expressions changed. After all, these 6 supreme divine artifacts were now in a fully awakened state, and he dared to grab them with his bare hands. That was too shocking. The most important thing was, after grabbing the 6 supreme divine artifacts, the white-eyed wolf's giant claws were not injured, and only some hair was cut off. You're surprised? What will really surprise you and make you feel despair is yet to come. The white-eyed wolf's eyes flashed fiercely, and he clenched his giant claws. Clang! Immediately, accompanied by 6 loud sounds, the 6 supreme divine artifacts were crushed by the white-eyed wolf. The 6 people were dumbfounded. He crushed the supreme divine artifacts with his bare hands. How strong was his physical body, and how terrifying was his strength to be able to do that. It was not until now that they suddenly realized it. It turned out that the strength that the white-eyed wolf showed during the fierce battle with the beasts was just the tip of the iceberg. What kind of monster was he? He was only at the 9 heavens realm, but he actually had such terrifying strength. It was no exaggeration to say that. The white-eyed wolf's physical body was even more terrifying than the blood demon races. When the white-eyed wolf broke through to the peak realm, his physical body would not even be comparable to the transformed blood demon races. I was indeed injured during the battle with those beasts, and I also used up a lot of my divine power. But even so, it's more than enough to deal with you. A group of small fries want to make a big wave, how ridiculous. The white-eyed wolf was extremely domineering, and he stomped his foot down. The 6 burly men hurriedly tried to resist. However, even with the combined strength of the 6 of them, they were still unable to resist the white-eyed wolf's foot. Accompanied by a series of miserable howls, the 6 people were directly stomped into the ground, and their bodies were completely deformed, and blood was flowing out of their bodies. Why don't you look at where you are? What's the difference between you imperishable realm experts and us 9 heavens realm experts? The white-eyed wolf's face was full of disdain, and several rays of golden light shot out and entered the lower abdomens of the 6 people. The 6 people screamed again, and their sea of qi was destroyed on the spot. Strong. When Yang Li saw this scene, he felt heartfelt admiration. To be honest, When he saw the white-eyed wolf before, he didn't take it to heart. Not only him, but Wang Ming also thought that this wolf was only close to Qin Feiyang. When they saw the white-eyed wolf's terrifying strength, they realized how wrong they were. This white-eyed wolf was also an existence that was worthy of respect. Chapter 27:43. The burly man and the others were terrified to the extreme. They had already seen the white-eyed wolf's methods. Now that they had fallen into the hands of the white-eyed wolf, they would definitely not have a good ending. In their hearts, they were filled with regret. Why did they provoke this group of terrifying people? This thing called greed was really harmful. The white-eyed wolf's body quickly shrank and returned to its original size. With a wave of its claws, it snatched the 6 people's Qiankuan bags. What are you doing? The 6 people looked at it in shock and anger. Don't you like to loot a burning house? Now I'll let you have a taste of it. How is it, does it feel good? The white-eyed wolf looked at the 6 people mockingly. The 6 people felt bitter. Tell the truth. When it comes to looting a burning house, you're not even worthy of carrying my shoes. The things I once robbed, the white-eyed wolf said proudly, but suddenly waved its claws and said, forget it, a real man doesn't talk about his past glory. Moreover, I've already turned over a new leaf. Turned over a new leaf? When the 6 people heard this, they couldn't help but secretly despise it. Whoosh! Yang Li brought the frenzied man and the unconscious Qin Feiyang back to the white-eyed wolf's side. He looked at the burly man and the white-eyed wolf and then asked, how do we deal with them now? The 6 people's bodies and hearts tightened. Now that their qi seas were destroyed, they were equivalent to lambs waiting to be slaughtered. The frenzied man pondered for a while and said, let's wait for Qin Feiyang to wake up and deal with them personally. Okay. Yang Li nodded. The frenzied man looked up at the temple at the top of the mountain and said, let's go up and take a look. Yang Li waved his hand and led the group to the top of the mountain. At this moment, the top of the mountain was dead silent. The temple sat alone on the top of the mountain and the door was wide open. Should we go in? Yang Li asked. Don't act rashly. Wait for Qin Feiyang to wake up and ask him clearly. The frenzied man said in a deep voice. Although they sensed the aura of the ice dragon and the small beast, they were too far away and didn't know what happened. At the same time, at a certain place, Lord Ice Dragon, Beast God Hand, I'm sorry, I'm useless. The fire dragon's soul was trembling in front of the small beast and the ice dragon. You are indeed incompetent. Even with the power of the imprint, he was still forced into such a state by Qin Feiyang. The little golden beast spoke with a tone that carried a strand of coldness. I'm sorry, the fire dragon was terrified. The small beast was silent for a while. Suddenly, it waved its paw and a golden light merged with the fire dragon's divine soul. The fire dragon's body was immediately reconstructed. The fire dragon was stunned and hurriedly thank you, Lord Beast God. The golden small beast said, I'll give you another mission. If you mess it up again, don't blame me for being merciless. Please give me your orders. Fire dragon said respectfully. Go to the 4th floor immediately. When Qin Feiyang enters the 4th floor in the future, kill him for me. The small beast said. Go to the 4th floor? The fire dragon was stunned for a moment and was overjoyed. The ice dragon frowned, do you know what boss frog means? I know, Lord Beast God wants me to go to the 4th floor in advance to prepare. The fire dragon nodded. You're not that stupid. Even if Qin Feiyang wants to go to the 4th floor, who knows how many years later it will be. This period is enough for you to prepare. The ice dragon said. Yes. The fire dragon nodded respectfully and hesitated, but will Qin Feiyang really go to the 4th floor in the future? Lord Frog believes that he will. The small beast whispered. The fire dragon's heart trembled. He didn't expect that Qin Feiyang would make Lord Beast God look at him in a different light. The small beast suddenly looked at the ice dragon and said, "Let's not intervene in what happens next." The ice dragon was slightly stunned and asked, "Even if it threatens my family, I can't intervene? Didn't you say that we can't break the balance? What else do you want?" The small beast frowned. "All right." The ice dragon nodded helplessly. Time flew by. The next day, Qin Feiyang finally woke up. The blood puppet on his body had been repaired. "You're awake." Yang Li hurriedly went forward and helped Qin Feiyang up. "How long have I been unconscious?" Qin Feiyang looked around and asked. "Not long, just a day." Yang Li smiled. The frenzy, the white-eyed wolf, and the burly man were also recuperating at the side. When they heard Qin Feiyang's voice, they all opened their eyes. "You're quite tough. You didn't die even after that." The white-eyed wolf pursed his lips. Scram! Qin Feiyang glared at him and then looked at the frenzy. "How are you?" "The after-effects are already gone. Even if thousands of giant beasts come, I can kill them all," the old man said proudly. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes and looked at the burly man and the others. He asked in surprise, "Their cultivation?" Yang Li snorted coldly. "They brought this upon themselves." "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. Yang Li immediately recounted what had happened yesterday in detail. "So that's how it is." Qin Feiyang suddenly understood. The 6 of them were extremely nervous. Whether they could survive or not depended on what Qin Feiyang said now. But Qin Feiyang didn't pay attention to them. He looked at the white-eyed wolf and frowned. "How many more tricks are you hiding?" "Many more." Looking at the ingrate's complacent attitude, Qin Feiyang's forehead was immediately filled with a row of black lines. "That. Young master, you've just recovered from your injuries. Don't be angry." Yang Li quickly comforted him. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. "Qin Feiyang, what happened between you and the fire dragon? Why are you in such a sorry state? And why is the gate of the temple open?" The frenzy frowned. Qin Feiyang looked at the gate of the temple with a murderous look in his eyes. "Who won the battle between you and the ice dragon?" The white-eyed wolf also looked at Qin Feiyang curiously. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and sighed. "I lost." "What?" The white-eyed wolf, Yang Li, the frenzy, and the burly man were dumbfounded when they heard this. Qin Feiyang's strength was obvious to all, but he lost to the fire dragon? The power of the fire dragon's mark is even more terrifying than that of the 10 strongest guardians like Longma. Even if I activated 3,000 clones and used all my supreme-level divine arts, I still couldn't break its defense. If Wang Ming hadn't come and removed the suppression of his cultivation and forcefully destroyed the mark, I'm afraid I would be dead by now. Qin Feiyang said. "I didn't expect this guy to become so strong after so many years," the white-eyed wolf said in a deep voice. As for the gate of the temple, it was opened by the small beast. According to the fire dragon and the small beast, there is the inheritance of the power of laws and the time array inside. If you want to go in, then go in. I don't want to. Qin Feiyang shook his head. The inheritance of the power of laws. The frenzy, the white-eyed wolf, and Yang Li immediately looked at the temple, their eyes shining. "Wait. Why don't you want to go in?" The white-eyed wolf looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. "I don't need their charity." Qin Feiyang clenched his hands and said in a deep voice. "Okay." The white-eyed wolf nodded. Indeed. If they had opened the gate of the temple with their own ability, it would be fine. But this gate was opened by the small beast, so it was a kind of charity. Qin Feiyang looked at the white-eyed wolf, the frenzy, and Yang Li and said with a smile, "But for you, this is an opportunity." "Who cares?" The white-eyed wolf pursed his lips. "Don't be so loyal. I have a feeling that the power of laws will be our strongest means in the future." Qin Feiyang said. "Can integrity be eaten?" "I don't care anyway." The frenzy chuckled. "I don't care either." Yang Li looked at the gate of the temple and smiled foolishly. But suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and his expression dimmed. "What's wrong?" Qin Feiyang looked at him in confusion. Yang Li sighed. Wang Ming also had this opportunity, but unfortunately, Qin Feiyang fell silent. The frenzy patted Yang Li's shoulder and comforted him. "There will be plenty of opportunities in the future." "I hope so." Yang Li sighed. Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze, turned his head, and slowly walked to the edge of the cliff. He glanced at the forest of gods and demons with sadness in his eyes. "What's wrong with you?" The white-eyed wolf, the frenzy, and Yang Li walked over suspiciously and asked. The burly man and the others stared at the gate of the temple with great desire. The regret in their hearts was even stronger. If it wasn't for yesterday's incident, if they took the initiative to befriend Qin Feiyang, they would definitely be able to enter the temple and obtain the inheritance of the power of laws. But now, they didn't get Qin Feiyang's divine artifact and divine art, and they also lost the opportunity to enter the temple. The gains didn't make up for the losses. At the edge of the cliff, Qin Feiyang sighed and whispered, "White-eyed wolf, do you know? Big Cousin and the inner demons died here." "What?" The white-eyed wolf's eyes trembled as he looked at the ground and said in surprise, "You mean that's right. The Nether King's Hell is the third level of the miracle." Qin Feiyang nodded. "The third level of the miracle," the white-eyed wolf murmured. Qin Feiyang said, "Actually, we have been to this temple before." "Been here?" The white-eyed wolf was stunned. Qin Feiyang asked, "Do you still remember what happened before entering the ancient world?" "I remember. At that time, in order to confirm the death of the inner demons and Big Cousin, we found the fire python and entered the third level, but in the end, we were stopped in a hall." "Wait." Speaking of this, the white-eyed wolf's body trembled as he turned to look at Qin Feiyang and said, "That hall was this temple?" "Qin Feiyang nodded. The white-eyed wolf was stunned and said, "Then didn't we go around in a big circle in the ancient world?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. "Your sister, how can you play like this?" The white-eyed wolf was quite angry. The madman said, "According to what you said, this Nether King's Hell shouldn't be the world of the dragon god. When I found out that the Nether King's Hell was the third level of the miracle, I had already thought of this point. The real owner of the miracle is the creation god. And the ice dragon only has the authority to freely enter and exit the miracle." Qin Feiyang said. "This also explains why there are so many heaven-defying treasures in the Nether King's Hell, but the ice dragon didn't directly give them to the dragons? This is because he doesn't dare to do so." The madman said. "That's right. After all, they are the treasures of the creation god. No matter how bold the ice dragon is, he wouldn't dare to act recklessly." Qin Feiyang smiled. Chapter 2744. Since this isn't his world, why is he still pretending in front of us? The white-eyed wolf snorted. His eyes were filled with disgust. "It's not against the law to be pretentious," Yang Li said. Qin Feiyang glanced at the white-eyed wolf and Yang Li. He shook his head and said, "You don't understand the main point of this problem." "What main point?" The white-eyed wolf and Yang Li were taken aback. They looked at him suspiciously. "Do you remember my promise to the Ghost King? We thought the Nether King's Hell was the Ice Dragon's world." Although the ice dragon is powerful, it's not undefeatable. However, we've discovered that the master of the Nether King's hell is the creator. What does this mean? This means that if we want the blood demons to regain their freedom, we have to look for the creator. We have to either convince him or defeat him. Convince him? Defeat him? Do you think we have the ability to do so? Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed at himself. The white-eyed wolf, the mad scientist, and Yang Li fell silent when they heard this. This was indeed a very troublesome problem. There's one more thing, Qin Feiyang said again. He clenched his fists tightly again. His eyes were filled with anger. What is it? The mad scientist, the white-eyed wolf, and Yang Li were puzzled. The nine-leaf fire lotus and the crimson sword soul have been sealed by the small beast. Qin Feiyang said. How can this be? The two men and the wolf shuddered. These two war souls were Qin Feiyang's most powerful trump cards. They could even put up a fight against a sovereign weapon. Now that these two war souls had been sealed, would it not mean that when they faced the dragons in the future, after all, the dragon clan had a sovereign's divine weapon? Without these two war souls, no matter how many heaven-defying divine weapons they had, they would not dare to set foot on Divine Dragon Island. If they could not even set foot on Divine Dragon Island, how could they possibly destroy the dragons? This was truly a nightmare. The white-eyed wolf frowned. Why did it seal your war soul? It's all because of that damned ice dragon. He said that my fighting soul had broken the balance of this world, so small beast sealed it. Qin Feiyang said angrily. That bastard. You still have the cheek to talk about balance? The dragon's sovereign divine weapons are even stronger than your two battle souls. Isn't that breaking the balance? The fire dragon himself is trash, but because he borrowed the power of the mark, he can't even defeat you. Is this not considered breaking the balance? This is too much. The white-eyed wolf was also furious. What's the point of shouting? The law of the jungle has always been the law of survival. The rule is that the one with the harder fist has the final say. Madman shook his head. That's true, but they've gone too far. Yang Li couldn't help but frown. What can you do if they bully you? In front of them, we still have to obediently lower our heads. Madman said. Sigh. Yang Li sighed when he heard this. Under the heavens, everyone is just an ant. And, there's not only 3 floors, there's a 4th floor. Qin Feiyang looked up at the sky, his eyes were extremely deep. What the hell? There's a 4th floor. The white-eyed wolf was shocked. Yes. Small Beast said it himself. He said that in the 4th floor, there are as many undead stage powerhouses as dogs. Qin Feiyang nodded. It can't be. Madman, the white-eyed wolf, and Yang Li looked at each other. Undead stage powerhouses as many as dogs? Isn't this a bit exaggerated? I don't know if it's true or not. I don't want to think so much now. All of you go to the temple, let me be alone. Qin Feiyang said. I'm not going, I don't care. The white-eyed wolf shook his head. Yang Li looked at Madman and asked, then what about us? Madman grinned, of course we're going, only an idiot wouldn't take advantage of it. With that, he ran towards the temple. Wait. Aren't you afraid that it's a trap? Yang Li hurriedly shouted. Trap? Madman was stunned and turned to look at Qin Feiyang. It won't. With small beast strength, there's no need to use such means. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Madman chuckled and immediately ran into the temple. Young master, should I go in too? Yang Li looked at Qin Feiyang and asked. You don't have to listen to everything I say and follow your heart. Qin Feiyang smiled. Thank you, young master. Yang Li bowed and quickly ran into the temple. The white-eyed wolf said angrily, "These two guys are really embarrassing us. They're different from us. Although they're with us, they have their own choice. Don't add our personal resentment to them. This is not fair to them." Qin Feiyang shook his head. The white-eyed wolf said, "Then tell me, what do you plan to do next?" "Next," Qin Feiyang murmured and said with a faint smile, "I'm a little tired, I want to rest." "How can there be time for you to rest now? Destroying the dragons, the promise to King Yu, these are all difficult tasks." The white-eyed wolf said. "Let's take it one step at a time. After all, we've encountered so many difficulties in the past, and we've come all the way." Qin Feiyang smiled. "That's true." The white-eyed wolf nodded and glanced at the divine demon forest. But the inner demons and big cousin. Since this was the third floor of the divine ruins, Qin Feiyang did not sense the inner demons here. This was enough to prove that the inner demons were really dead. "They won't die in vain," Qin Feiyang murmured. The blood feud was as deep as the sea. He would not let it go. Qin Feiyang, the burly man and the other five hesitated for a long time. In the end, they gathered their courage and walked toward Qin Feiyang. "No need to explain." Qin Feiyang waved his hand. "Brother Qin, the six people's expressions changed drastically. They thought that Qin Feiyang was going to do something to them. The white-eyed wolf suddenly turned around and stared at the six people. "I told you to shut up. Did you not understand?" The six people shrank their necks and immediately shut their mouths. They looked at the white-eyed wolf in horror. "Before you attacked, you should have thought about the consequences in advance." The white-eyed wolf snorted. "If we had known that you were hiding your strength, we wouldn't have dared to do this." The six people were bitter. The white-eyed wolf raised his eyebrows and said, "Judging from your tone, it seems that it's my fault." "No, no, no." The six people hurriedly waved their hands. Qin Feiyang said, "White-eyed wolf, that's enough. Give the interspatial rings back to them." "Give them back?" The white-eyed wolf was taken aback. The six people also looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. Did this mean that he would not kill them? "Just give them back." Qin Feiyang stared at the white-eyed wolf. The white-eyed wolf pursed his lips. He took out 6 interspatial rings and threw them to the 6 people. "You're lucky. Thank you." The 6 people shed tears of gratitude. They hurriedly took out a spirit sea elixir to repair their sea of qi. "You can go to the divine hall by yourselves. Whether you can comprehend the power of law or not depends on your luck." Qin Feiyang said. "What? He's letting us into the divine hall?" The 6 people looked stunned. They wondered if they were hallucinating. Who in the divine land did not know Qin Feiyang's fierce reputation? He was already merciful enough to let them go. How could he let them into the divine hall? How could he be so kind? The white-eyed wolf said, "Look at you. It seems that you don't want to go." "We'll go if we want to." The 6 people nodded. "Then get out of here." The white-eyed wolf shouted. The 6 people immediately shuddered and ran to the divine hall. The white-eyed wolf snorted through his nose. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Little Qin Zi, I'm very dissatisfied with the way you handled this matter. Karma is a circle. Good and evil will be rewarded. Some people don't have to be controlled." Qin Feiyang said. "But they know all our secrets. Ru lunatic, from the 9th Heaven Palace, and your identity as Li Buer. Even Wang Ming, Yang Li, it's a big deal. If they leak it out, we won't even know how we died." The white-eyed wolf said. "If they are smart, they will know what they can and can't say. On the contrary. If they leak it out, it means that they are not qualified to stand with us. This is also a test for them." Qin Feiyang said. "I can't win against you. Okay, do as you like. The white-eyed wolf waved his paws. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and suddenly asked, "White-eyed wolf, do you miss home?" "Miss home?" The white-eyed wolf was stunned. He nodded and said with a smile, "To be honest, I do miss everyone." "Then why don't we go back and take a look?" Qin Feiyang said. "Go back?" The white-eyed wolf was stunned and asked suspiciously, "How do we go back? Do you still remember how we returned from the third floor to the second floor?" Qin Feiyang smiled. The white-eyed wolf pondered for a while and his eyes lit up, "The gate of time and space." "Yes. Since we could use the gate of time and space to return to the second floor, we can definitely do it now. Besides, this hell can also use the power of law. As the Beast Emperor said, Long Zun used the gate of time and space to bring them out of the forest of gods and demons." Qin Feiyang waved his hand and the gate of time and space appeared. Clang! With the influx of divine power, the gate of time and space quickly opened with a loud sound. "It really works." The white-eyed wolf was stunned and immediately ran in. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and stepped into the gate of time and space. Immediately, the gate of time and space dissipated in the void. "Where are they?" Madman and Yangli heard the commotion and ran out of the temple. Looking at the empty mountain peak, they were shocked. It seems to be the sound of a divine artifact awakening. Could something have happened to them? Yangli was surprised. When Madman heard this, he also found it hard to judge. Yangli said, "Quickly go and look for them. Don't run around." Madman hurriedly grabbed Yangli and shook his head, "With Qin Feiyang's temperament and strength, even if there is a sudden change, he can still call us for help in time." "Then what do you mean?" Yangli frowned. Madman guessed, they might have left on their own. Left on their own? Yangli was stunned and said, "But it's impossible for them to disappear in the blink of an eye. I also don't know what happened. But now, you must not run around. You know how dangerous the forest of gods and demons is. If you fall into an illusion, even a heavenly god won't be able to save you." Taking a step back, even if something happened to Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf, I believe that they have the ability to deal with it. Let's continue to inherit the power of law. Madman said. "All right." Yangli nodded. He raised his head and looked around worriedly. Chapter 2745. The second floor of the Divine Ruins. In the middle of a towering mountain, there was a square. In the middle of the square, there was a blood-red altar. Beside the altar, a huge fire python lay prone on the ground with its eyes closed, letting out a deafening snoring sound. That's right. It was the guardian of the first and second floor of the Divine Ruins, the fire python that had helped Qin Feiyang countless times. Shua! Suddenly, two figures appeared above the square. It was Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. The white-eyed wolf scanned its surroundings, and when it saw the fire python below, a trace of joy immediately crawled up its eyes. At the same time, the fire python suddenly opened its eyes, two killing intent bursting out of them. It raised its head to look at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf, and shouted, "You actually dare to trespass here," but before it finished speaking, the fire python's eyes widened as it stared at the man and the wolf in surprise. What was going on? Didn't they go to the ancient realm? Why did they appear at the Divine Ruins? He must be seeing things. Qin Feiyang landed in front of the fire python and smiled, "Brother Hua, long time no see." This voice, the fire python's expression froze, and then it said in surprise, "It's really you." "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. The white-eyed wolf said, "I thought that after not seeing you for so many years, you had already forgotten us. How is that possible?" The fire python stood up and looked at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. its eyes full of smiles. How is it? This surprise is surprising enough. The white-eyed wolf chuckled. Unexpected, too unexpected. I'm not mentally prepared at all. The fire python nodded and asked, have you been well all these years? Pretty good. Qin Feiyang smiled and asked, what about you? The fire python laughed, what changes can I have? I'm still the same, guarding the divine ruins all day. Qin Feiyang sized up the fire python and said with a smile, your cultivation has become much stronger. He remembered that when he first saw the fire python in the divine ruins, it had just become a war god. At that time, a beginner battle immortal was quite impressive in his eyes. Because at that time, he was only a battle the arch. Between the battle god and the battle the arch, the former was the sky. Now, the fire python had already become a perfect war god. Although it was still a far cry from Qin Feiyang and the others, for the fire python, this kind of speed was already quite fast. This was because there were no time arrays or large amounts of soul stones here. Qin Feiyang had been through a lot, so he knew how difficult it was to become a perfect war god without a time array or a soul stone. Hearing Qin Feiyang's words, the fire python nodded and said with a smile, my cultivation is indeed not bad, but before it finished speaking, the fire python opened its eyes wide and stared at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. It realized that it couldn't see through the cultivation of the man and the wolf. It was like a vast ocean, unfathomable. Your cultivation? The fire python was surprised. Us? Hee. We have already stepped into the 9th heaven realm. The white-eyed wolf grinned. What? 9th heaven realm? The fire python was stunned and hurriedly said, wait a minute, let me count first. War god, divine lord, 9th heaven realm. In other words, you have already surpassed me by 3 realms? The fire python looked at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf in disbelief and said, how are you so fast? Good talent. The white-eyed wolf said proudly. The fire python was speechless and said, I can't deny that your talent is indeed very good, but it can't be so fast. Qin Feiyang glared at the ingrate, then looked at the fire python and laughed, Brother Fire, don't listen to its nonsense. It's because we have the time array and a large number of soul stones that we were able to break through to the 9 heavens realm so quickly. Otherwise, we would probably be about the same as you right now. Time array, soul stones. The fire python murmured and nodded with a smile, if that's the case, I believe it, but, the fire python looked at the white-eyed wolf and said proudly, so what if you are strong? It's too easy for me to beat you up. What? The white-eyed wolf was stunned. Don't forget, I am now the guardian of the miracle. The guardian has the power to control the rule power. No matter how strong you are, can you be stronger than the rule power of the miracle? The fire python laughed. The white-eyed wolf was stunned and said, then aren't you cheating? The fire python was speechless, this is also one of my abilities. How is that cheating? Okay. The white-eyed wolf waved its claws and said with a slightly gloomy expression, let me tell you something. Seeing this, the fire python asked suspiciously, what is it? We met the fire dragon. The white-eyed wolf said. What? Where is it? Is it dead? The fire python's body trembled and asked. The white-eyed wolf said, it's on the 3rd floor. It's on the 3rd floor? Why don't I know about this? The fire python was surprised. The white-eyed wolf said, and all these years, it has been staying in the temple to cultivate in seclusion. Temple? The fire python was stunned. The white-eyed wolf was stunned, you don't know about the temple? I don't know. The fire python shook its head. Why don't you know? Haven't you been to the 3rd floor? The white-eyed wolf said. I've been there a few times. But every time, it's in that hall. The fire python said. The white-eyed wolf said, that hall is the temple. That's what the creatures on the third floor call it. I see. The fire python nodded in realization, then raised its eyebrows and said, you said that the fire dragon has been in the temple all this time? That's right. The white-eyed wolf nodded. Then why didn't I see it when I went to the temple? The fire python frowned. Because there's a second floor in the temple. All these years, the fire dragon has been staying in the second floor to cultivate in seclusion. The white-eyed wolf said. The second floor, the fire python muttered and said angrily, I didn't know there was a second floor. I've been to the temple several times and I've brushed past it. Brother Fire, you don't have to be like this. After all, when we went in that year, we didn't find there was a second floor. Qin Feiyang comforted. It wasn't difficult to tell that the fire python knew nothing about the third floor. What about the fire dragon now? The fire python asked. Qin Feiyang sighed, I'm sorry, I'm useless. I couldn't kill it. It's already so strong. Even you can't kill it with your 9 heavens greater success cultivation. The fire python was shocked. It's a long story. Qin Feiyang sighed and explained the fire dragon's situation. The power of the mark, Lord Beast God, Lord Ice Dragon, the fire python muttered and said angrily, why did Lord Beast God and Lord Ice Dragon cultivate it like this? Maybe it's because the fire dragon is also a divine dragon. After all, the ice dragon is also a divine dragon. Qin Feiyang said. The fire python said, so now, the fire dragon is still at large? Yes. Although I haven't seen it again, I think it might have gone to the 4th floor. Qin Feiyang nodded. The 4th floor, the fire python whispered. Qin Feiyang asked, Brother Fire, do you know about the 4th floor? I heard Lord Beast God mention it once, but I'm not familiar with it. I only know that there is such a place. The fire python said. Qin Feiyang nodded and said, I still want to apologize to you. I didn't fulfill my promise to you. It's not your fault. With Lord Beast God and Lord Ice Dragon protecting it, no one can kill it. The fire python shook its head, its face full of despair. Was this blood debt going to be forgotten? Don't be sad. Next time, the next time I see it, I'll definitely kill it. Qin Feiyang clenched his hands and said. Thank you. The fire python smiled, almost without any hope. Okay, it's not easy for us to get together, let's talk about something happy. White-eyed wolf said. That's true. We can't ruin the atmosphere because of that bastard fire dragon. The fire python nodded. Little Qin Zi, since we have left the 3rd floor, can we enter the castle and the Black Tortoise realm? White-eyed wolf asked. That's right. Qin Feiyang patted his head and his mind immediately sank into his body to sense the castle. Immediately. He contacted the castle. Yes. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed and looked at the fire python with a smile. Brother Fire, why don't you come with me to the castle to take a look? Okay. The fire python nodded. Swish. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and immediately appeared in the hall of the castle with White-eyed Wolf and the fire python. When they appeared in the hall, Qin Feiyang and White-eyed Wolf were stunned. The huge hall was filled with people at this moment. Fire Lotus, Hua Yi, Five-Clawed Golden Dragon, Feng Daji, Big Black Wolf, the 3 Black Leopard Brothers, Li Changhe, Wang Daoyuan, Yi Cheng, Mermaid Princess, Qin Rushuang, Tan Tai Li, Zhao Tai Lai, Tang Hai, Dan Wangkai, Blood Kirin, Golden Leopard, Thunder Leopard, and so on. Everyone was in the hall at this moment. Only the demon ancestor, Dong Zhengyang, Mu Tianyang, and Mu Qing were not there. What are you all doing? Qin Feiyang looked at the group of people in shock. It seemed that they had known that he and White-Eyed Wolf would enter the castle, so they were all here to welcome them. Welcome back. Mermaid Princess walked in front of Qin Feiyang and smiled. This is not right. Qin Feiyang looked at Mermaid Princess and then looked at everyone. He was completely caught off guard. You don't know, do you? Although you are in the hell of the underworld and can't sense the castle, we can hear all the movements outside. Fire Lotus smiled. You can hear everything outside? Qin Feiyang and White-Eyed Wolf looked at each other. Yes. Everyone nodded with smiles on their faces. Does that mean that you know everything that happens in hell? Qin Feiyang asked in shock. Yes. No matter what happened to you in Fallen Valley or the Forest of Gods and Devils, we all know about it. Mermaid Princess nodded. White-Eyed Wolf asked, then you are not worried, right? Nonsense. How can we not be worried? Blood Kirin stared at White-Eyed Wolf and smiled. But we also know that worrying is useless. So, we have been working hard to cultivate. Look at our cultivation. White-Eyed Wolf looked at Blood Kirin and shouted angrily, how did you break through to Great Completion 9th Heaven? Hee hee. Blood Kirin smiled proudly. Great Completion 9th Heaven? Qin Feiyang froze and looked at Blood Kirin. Judging from Blood Kirin's aura, it really was Great Completion 9th Heaven. No way. It was stronger than him and White-Eyed Wolf. Chapter 2746. What was going on? One had to know. In the ancient city of Qingyu, they had a 500-year time formation. In the ancient castle, it was a 100-year time formation. No matter what, it was impossible to surpass them. Qin Feiyang and the White-Eyed Wolf looked at the others. Almost everyone present had broken through to the Peak 9 Heavens realm. Even Dan Wangkai was now at the Peak 9 Heavens realm. Looking at the Mermaid Princess standing in front of him, Qin Feiyang was even more speechless. She was also at the Peak 9 Heavens realm. Enli Changhe, Wang Daoyuan, the Big Black Wolf, and the Black Panther had all stepped into the Peak 9 Heavens realm. What the hell is going on? Qin Feiyang couldn't get used to this scene at all. They were all at the Peak 9 Heavens realm. Isn't this too outrageous? What is this? I'm already breaking through to the half-step imperishable realm. The Golden Panther was full of pride. Young master, look at my cultivation. Yi Cheng suddenly said. Qin Feiyang was stunned and looked at Yi Cheng with a hint of surprise on his face. You've already, yes. I've already stepped into the half-step imperishable realm. Yi Cheng smiled. Great. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed and looked at Fire Lotus, Hua Yi, Feng Daji, and the five-clawed golden dragon. Don't look at us. Little gold and I can't break through so quickly. Hua Yi waved his hand. He and the five-clawed golden dragon were still at the peak imperishable realm. But Fire Lotus and Feng Daji's aura were stronger than before. Feng Daji smiled and said, Miss Fire Lotus has gained the most in these years of cultivation. Fire Lotus looked at Feng Daji and smiled. You're not bad either. You've already broken through to the peak imperishable realm. How can I compare to you? Feng Daji shook his head. Qin Feiyang looked at Feng Daji. Sure enough, Feng Daji had already stepped into the peak imperishable realm. Congratulations. Qin Feiyang smiled. It's all thanks to young lord's nurturing. Feng Daji bowed. Qin Feiyang said, Don't bow so casually. We're on the same side, so let go. Feng Daji stared blankly for a moment before nodding with a smile. Young master, you have to take a good look at Miss Fire Lotus. Qin Feiyang looked at Fire Lotus curiously and said, Girl, you've also broken through? Yes. Fire Lotus nodded. Not only did she break through to the undying realm, but Miss Fire Lotus has also comprehended the power of law. Feng Daji said enviously. What? Qin Feiyang stared blankly for a moment before he hurriedly asked, what is the power of law? Fire Lotus smiled and raised her arm. Suddenly, a wisp of flame shot out from her palm. The flame was almost transparent and filled with the aura of time. This is... Qin Feiyang was bewildered. Temporal laws. Fire Lotus smiled. Temporal laws. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. The strongest power of law in the world was the temporal laws and the space-time laws. He didn't expect that Fire Lotus had comprehended the temporal laws. How terrifying was the temporal laws? For example, the ancient castle's temporal array was evolved from the temporal laws. Although Fire Lotus didn't have the ability to set up a temporal array yet, it was only a matter of time. Amazing! Qin Feiyang walked up, raised his hand, and rubbed Fire Lotus's head lovingly. Boss, you dote on Miss Fire Lotus so much, aren't you afraid that someone will be jealous? The big black wolf smiled slyly. Jealous? Qin Feiyang stared blankly and couldn't help but look at the mermaid princess. What nonsense are you talking about? The mermaid princess looked at the big black wolf helplessly. Who didn't know the relationship between Qin Feiyang and Fire Lotus? They were pure siblings. Hee hee. The big black wolf grinned. Qin Feiyang turned and walked to the front of the mermaid princess, hugged the mermaid princess, and whispered, I've made you worry all these years. Everything that happened in the Nether King's hell could be heard from inside the ancient castle. It wasn't hard to imagine how much this little girl had been worried about him all these years. No. I'm quite relaxed. Because I know you'll be fine. The mermaid princess shook her head. Cough, cough. The white-eyed wolf looked at the two, coughed, and said, although I don't want to disturb you, I still have to remind you that we still have guests. Guests? Qin Feiyang was stunned and quickly let go of the mermaid princess. He looked at the fire python behind them and apologized, Brother Fire, I'm sorry. It's fine. The fire python smiled slightly. Greetings, Lord Guardian. Only then did everyone react, and hurriedly bowed to the fire python. You don't have to be so polite. After all, in terms of cultivation, each of you can kill me in seconds. The fire python laughed. But in terms of means, you can kill all of us in seconds. Tang Hai said. No, no. You're Qin Feiyang's friends, which means you're this emperor's friends. Why would this emperor make a move against his friends? The fire python laughed. He's the guardian of the miracle. Hua Yi, Feng Daji, and the five-clawed golden dragon looked at the fire python curiously. This Qin Feiyang was really capable. He actually called the guardian his brother. Although the fire python's cultivation was indeed inferior to them, if they really wanted to fight, they wouldn't be able to deal with it. For example, the rule force of the Nether King's hell. Once the rule force was activated, even an undead stage expert would be turned into ashes. The Nether King's hell was the third layer of the miracle. The rule force of the first and second layer must also have such power. Brother Fire, let's go to the Black Tortoise world to take a look. Qin Feiyang laughed. All right. The fire python nodded. At this moment, Qin Feiyang led the fire python outside, and everyone retreated to the side. After Qin Feiyang and the fire python walked out of the castle, everyone followed. The moment they walked out of the castle, a trace of shock appeared in the fire python's eyes. Outside was an endless stretch of mountains and rivers, with countless medicinal herbs planted on the ground. Between the mountains, the void, it was filled with white fog. This wasn't an ordinary fog, but the energy of the soul vein and crystal vein. How could this still be the devil's land? This was a fairyland. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked at the current devil's land and were extremely shocked. The energy here was countless times more terrifying than before. The herbs had also multiplied. In the past few years, the soul vein and crystal vein in the devil's land have almost evolved into a rank 8 divine realm soul vein and crystal vein. Fire Lotus laughed. So fast? Qin Feiyang was shocked. Is it fast? Fire Lotus asked. Wait a minute. Your cultivation has broken through so fast, and the soul vein and crystal vein are evolving at such a fast speed. Could it be, this has something to do with my breakthrough to the 9 heavens realm and the changes in the time array? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Of course. Fire Lotus nodded. The white-eyed wolf asked anxiously, how many years is a day now? 1,000 years. Fire Lotus said. What is that? 1,000 years? Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf were dumbfounded. The fire python was so shocked that it couldn't close its mouth. 1,000 years in a day? This must be a joke. Otherwise, how could our cultivation have improved so quickly? Fire Lotus laughed. Awesome. The time array in the ancient king city is only 500 years in a day. No wonder I didn't see Mu Tianyang and the others. They must be taking the opportunity to cultivate desperately. The white-eyed wolf whispered. They are indeed in seclusion. Moreover, they are already breaking through to the half-step 9 heavens realm. Even Mu Qing has reached the perfected 9 heavens realm. Fire Lotus nodded. The white-eyed wolf frowned and said, what about the resources for their cultivation? Of course we provide them. Fire Lotus said. You are willing to give them to them? The white-eyed wolf was speechless. This is not allowed by Qin Dage. Since they are allowed to come to the ancient castle to cultivate, it is naturally equivalent to tacitly agreeing to provide them with resources. Fire Lotus said. That doesn't matter. Anyway, it is good for us if they become stronger. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. The demon ancestor and Dong Zhengyang are fine, but we can't be careless with Mu Qing and Mu Tianyang. Because this Mu Tianyang still hates you even now. White-eyed wolf said in a low voice. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and pondered for a while. He turned to Fire Lotus and the others and said, accompany Brother Fire for a walk. I have something to do and need to find the demon ancestor. Okay. Everyone nodded. Qin Feiyang turned and entered the ancient castle. He closed his eyes and soon found the cultivation room where the demon ancestor was. Because he was the owner of the ancient castle, he did not need anyone's permission to peek at everything. Swoosh! There was a flash. He appeared in a cultivation room on the second floor. At this moment, the demon ancestor was sitting cross-legged on a futon and cultivating with his eyes closed. The aura he emitted had indeed reached the perfected 9 heavens realm. I haven't seen you for a few hundred years and you are beginning to break through to the half-step eternal realm. Not bad. Qin Feiyang said. The demon ancestor opened his eyes and looked at Qin Feiyang in a daze. He said, has the Nether King's hell ended? No. Qin Feiyang shook his head. He had returned to the ancient castle and caused such a huge commotion. How could he not know? He was really focused. Then how did you come in? The demon ancestor was stunned. Qin Feiyang said, I took the opportunity to sneak out. Are you interested in going back to take a look? Go back? The demon ancestor was stunned. Great Qin. Qin Feiyang said. What? You are in Great Qin now? The demon ancestor got up and looked at him in surprise. I am now in the 2nd level of the divine sight, and the so-called Nether King's hell is the 3rd level of the divine level. Qin Feiyang said. I see. The demon ancestor suddenly understood and shook his head. I didn't expect to return to the starting point after going around in a big circle. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded and sighed. The demon ancestor pondered for a while and shook his head. I won't go out because I really don't have the face to face the people of Great Qin. As expected. Qin Feiyang shrugged and said, there is a problem that you have to help me think about. What problem? The demon ancestor was suspicious. Qin Feiyang said, where did Grey Castle go? Grey Castle? The demon ancestor was stunned. Back then, Grey Castle, Mu Tianyang's blood blade, and my ancestors' heaven-defying divine artifact entered divine land together. And you once said that your heaven-defying divine artifact, Snowflake, also abandoned you and ran away. Now, Blood Blade and Snowflake have returned to you and Mu Tianyang's side. What about Grey Castle? I also asked my ancestor. He said that Black Castle and Blood Blade did not follow his heaven-defying divine artifact to the dragon-slaying palace. So, I think that Grey Castle should have been with Blood Blade back then. Where is it now? Qin Feiyang frowned. Chapter 2747. Hearing this, Demon Ancestor lowered his head and pondered for a while before saying, when Snow and Blood Blade came back, they seemed to have mentioned this Grey Castle. What did they say? Qin Feiyang said. Is this very important? Demon Ancestor was suspicious. I met a blood spirit in hell. According to the Beast Emperor, this blood spirit is called Blood Ancestor, a peerless almighty of the previous era. And Grey Castle seems to be from the previous era, so I think Grey Castle might know Blood Ancestor. Qin Feiyang said. Then let me think. Demon Ancestor pondered. Qin Feiyang said, you might as well ask Snow to come out and tell me. Demon Ancestor shook his head and said, it and Blood Blade both went to the land of Source. What? Qin Feiyang was stunned. To the land of Source? What was this little brat doing? Why did Snow and Blood Blade also enter the land of Source? I remember now. That's what Blood Blade and Snow said. Grey Castle seemed to be looking for something, so it didn't come back with them. But where did it go? What is it looking for? Snow and Blood Blade don't seem to know either. Demon Ancestor said. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, are they really not sure, or are they deliberately hiding it from you? Then I don't know. But even if they are hiding it from us, we can't do anything. After all, for heaven-defying artifacts like them, if they don't want to say it, it's useless to force them. Demon Ancestor shook his head. Qin Feiyang lowered his head and was silent for a while, then sighed and said, all right, you continue. After saying that, he left the cultivation room and appeared in the number 1 cultivation room. This was his exclusive cultivation room. Fire Lotus would not let anyone in. Of course. There were exceptions. For example, the Mermaid Princess, Qin Rushuang, Tan Tai Li, and other close relatives of Qin Feiyang. Although he had not been back for hundreds of years, the cultivation room was still as spotless as ever. Obviously. Fire Lotus had been helping him clean. Qin Feiyang glanced at the cultivation room he hadn't seen in a long time. He walked to the altar and opened the alchemy scripture. Now that he had broken through to the 9 heavens realm, he could look at the pill formulas on the next page. When Qin Feiyang opened it, he found that there were only 3 pill formulas on this page, and this was the last page. The first type was called the Infinite Creation Pill. The second type was called the Triuan True Spirit Pill. The third type was the Disaster Crossing Heavenly Pill. The Infinite Creation Pill was used to open the door of potential in the 9 heavens realm. The Triuan True Spirit Pill was used to raise the cultivation of the 9 heavens realm. As for the Calamity Crossing Heavenly Pill, Qin Feiyang was stunned. This Disaster Crossing Heavenly Pill actually had the ability to break the curse. Curse? Qin Feiyang frowned. Rumble. Suddenly, the stone door was pushed open by someone, and Dan Wangkai walked in with a smile. I couldn't find you at Devil Ancestor's place, so I knew you were checking the pill scripture here. I also knew that you would definitely come to me as soon as possible. Qin Feiyang smiled. To Dan Wangkai, who was obsessed with alchemy, nothing was more important than the pill formulas. Dan Wangkai laughed dryly, walked to Qin Feiyang's side, and lowered his head to look at the pills. Infinite Creation Pill, Triuan True Spirit Pill, Disaster Crossing Heavenly Pill. Seeing the Disaster Crossing Heavenly Pill, Dan Wangkai's expression was also slightly stunned. Qin Feiyang laughed. Triuan True Spirit Pill, other than me, Frenzied, and White-Eyed Wolf, no one should be able to use it. Yes. Only Mu Qing can use it. Dan Wangkai nodded. Then this Infinite Creation Pill, go and see if there are any ready-made medicinal ingredients. If there are, refine it and distribute it to everyone, so that everyone can open the door of potential. Qin Feiyang said. All right. Dan Wangkai replied. Qin Feiyang said, by the way, how much has your mental strength grown now? I haven't tested it, so I'm not sure. But now, I can already refine divine pills with 3 dragon-shaped pill auras. Dan Wangkai retracted his gaze and looked at Qin Feiyang with a smile. Ever since Qin Feiyang gave him the soul concentration divine art, his mental strength grew stronger day by day. Not bad. It's just 1 dragon-shaped pill aura less than mine. Then in the future, I'll leave the alchemy to you. This Nether Devil Flame and Heavenly Flame Divine Cauldron will be given to you for the time being. Qin Feiyang said. To tell you the truth, when you weren't around, I was using the Nether Devil Flame and Heavenly Flame Divine Cauldron to refine pills. Dan Wangkai rubbed his head and smiled. It's fine. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and said, I don't understand this crossing adversity heavenly pill, you should think about it carefully. All right. Dan Wangkai nodded. Qin Feiyang turned and walked out of the cultivation room, left the castle, and looked around. 1,000 years a day. The overall strength of the Black Tortoise realm should have increased by several times. He closed his eyes and extended his perception infinitely. It can't be. He discovered that the current Black Tortoise realm was actually twice as large as the previous Black Tortoise realm. Moreover, the population had also increased by several times. This development is too fast. Qin Feiyang muttered, feeling very happy in his heart. Not long later, he was able to see the situation of the entire Black Tortoise realm. As expected, the overall power of the Black Tortoise realm had changed greatly. In the past, there was not a single paragon god. But now, they were everywhere. For example, Pai Lupi and Theta Wang, the 2 overlords of the Black Tortoise realm, were already half a step into the 9 heavens realm. At this rate, the number of 9 heavens realm in the Black Tortoise realm would definitely increase. Shua. With a flash, he landed in the air above the desert of death. Everyone was accompanying the fire python as they checked the divine treasury. Brother Fire, how is it? Qin Feiyang stepped forward and said with a smile. Incredible. The fire python was not stingy with his praise. This is all thanks to the fire lotus. Although I am the master of the Black Tortoise realm, I did not contribute much to the construction of the Black Tortoise realm. Qin Feiyang shook his head. The fire python looked at the fire lotus with eyes full of praise. All right. Let's go out. I'll go to the 3rd floor to take a look. The fire python retracted his gaze and said. You're going to the 3rd floor? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Didn't you say that the temple's door was open? Of course I have to take the opportunity to take a look at the 3rd floor. The fire python said. All right. But before that, I have a request. Qin Feiyang said. just say it. The fire python smiled. Qin Feiyang said, I want to return to the Great Qin Empire. Return to the Great Qin Empire. The fire python was shocked and said, Brother, although I can send you back, you know Lord Ice Dragon and Lord Beast God's attitude. The last time I let you enter the 3rd floor, I already angered Lord Ice Dragon. If I continue to help you, I'm afraid he will kill me. Moreover, after you entered the ancient realm, Lord Ice Dragon found me and said that no one is allowed to enter or leave the ancient realm. You know Lord Ice Dragon's strength. I really don't dare to help you anymore. There was a trace of fear in the fire python's eyes. Qin Feiyang's heart skipped a beat. He hadn't considered this point. The white-eyed wolf thought for a moment and said, Ice Dragon and Small Beast should have left the divine ruin, right? Left? The fire python was stunned. He looked at the white-eyed wolf and said, Are you sure? If they have really left, I can help you, but there's one more thing. The fire python looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Since there is the inheritance of the power of law in the temple, why don't you let everyone enter the temple? That's right. Qin Feiyang slapped his head. Yi Cheng, Hua Yi, Feng Daji, and the 5-clawed golden dragon were all imperishable stage experts. If they entered the temple and successfully comprehended the power of law, their strength would skyrocket. Hearing this, Hua Yi and the others were also tempted. I don't think it's appropriate. Because this is cheating. If Ice Dragon and Small Beast have really left the divine ruin, then it's fine. But what if they haven't? If they find out that we have all entered the temple, I'm afraid they will kill us all in anger. Fire Lotus looked at the fire python and said in a deep voice, At that time, I'm afraid even you will be killed. Although you can find an excuse to avoid it, as the guardian of this place, if you don't stop us, then you are not doing your duty. Heard this. The fire python's pupils shrank. Hearing Fire Lotus's words, this matter was indeed quite serious. Why don't we just forget about it? The ancient castle is sealed, and so are the battle souls. Facing Ice Dragon and Small Beast, not to mention winning, even self-preservation is a problem. Qin Feiyang shook his head and sighed. I agree too. We can slowly comprehend the power of law, but if we lose our lives, then everything will be gone. As for returning to the Great Qin, why don't we wait until tomorrow and open the space-time gate? This way, even if Ice Dragon and Small Beast find out, they can't blame Lord Guardian. The Mermaid Princess suggested. The fire python shook its head and said, the space-time gate can teleport inside the divine ruin, but it can't teleport out. Why? The Mermaid Princess looked at the fire python in surprise. In the past, I also thought that this space-time gate could teleport to the Great Qin. Because the space-time gate has the power of law of space-time. But later, when I became the guardian of the divine ruin, I found out that this divine ruin contains a power of law that can cut off space-time teleportation. Only a designated space-time gate or altar can teleport out. The fire python said. What about the ancient world? Qin Feiyang asked. In the past, he also thought that it should be possible, but he didn't expect that it wouldn't be possible. It won't work either. The space-time gate must be fused with the highest profoundness of the space-time law to break this power of law of space-time. The fire python said. In that case, only you can send us out? Qin Feiyang frowned. Yes. As the guardian of the divine ruin, I can ignore this power of law. The fire python nodded. After pondering for a while, it gritted its teeth and looked at Qin Feiyang, saying, I'll send you back to the Great Qin, but this is really the last time. This, Qin Feiyang was shocked. I think, even if Lord Beast God and Lord Ice Dragon find out, they should spare me this time for my father's sake. The fire python said. Then forget it. I'm not going back. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. He didn't want the fire python to take risks for him. For me, you fought with the fire dragon and almost lost your life. If I don't even help you with such a small matter, then what right do I have to call you brother? Besides, am I the kind of person who is afraid of death? This matter is decided. The fire python laughed heroically. Chapter 27:48. After leaving the Black Tortoise realm, the fire python sent Qin Feiyang to the Great Qin Empire and then opened the altar and entered the third level. There was no one on the first level of the temple. But right above, there was a door that looked like a black hole. This door led to the second level. The fire python looked at the black hole and muttered, "There is indeed a second level." Then it looked at the world outside the temple and its eyes were filled with surprise. Boom! Suddenly, two terrifying auras descended. The fire python's eyes trembled and hurriedly looked up. It saw Ice Dragon and Small Beast standing in the air. "Greetings, Lord Ice Dragon and Lord Beast God." The fire python hurriedly prostrated on the ground. At the same time, Frenzy, Yongli, and the burly man also came out of the black hole. Looking at Ice Dragon and Small Beast, their eyes were filled with fear. But when they noticed the fire python, a trace of suspicion appeared on their faces. Who was it? Do you know your crime? Ice Dragon looked at the fire python angrily. The fire python's heart trembled. Could it be that Ice Dragon and Small Beast already knew about sending Qin Feiyang to the Great Qin Empire? Everything in the Divine Ruins is under our control. Do you think you can hide it from us? Ice Dragon shouted. I'm sorry. The fire python's eyes trembled and hurriedly prostrated on the ground, saying, I won't dare to do it again. Lord Ice Dragon, Lord Beast God, please have mercy. Mercy? Ice Dragon sneered and said, I seem to have warned you last time. It seems that you don't remember my words. Yes. It's all my fault. Lord Ice Dragon, please be magnanimous and give me a way out. The fire python was terrified. What's going on? Frenzy and the others looked at each other. You disobeyed our orders time and time again. Why should we keep you alive? Ice Dragon snorted coldly and a wisp of divine power appeared, exuding an aura that could destroy the world. Lord Ice Dragon, the fire python's eyes trembled. But Ice Dragon was expressionless. With a whoosh, divine power charged toward the fire python. An aura of death suddenly enveloped it. The fire python steeled its heart and looked at the small beast. It roared, Lord Beast God, I refuse to accept this. The small beast was stunned. It looked at the Ice Dragon and said, Stop. Ice Dragon raised his eyebrows, and the strand of divine power immediately dissipated. The golden small beast looked down at the fire python and said calmly, Tell me why you're not convinced. I did make a mistake, but what about the fire dragon? It killed my father. Why didn't you pursue the matter? At the very least, my father was a guardian of the miracles back then. He served you loyally. However, not only did you not mention a single word about its death, you even allowed the fire dragon to enter the second level of the temple. Even I, the current guardian, don't know about the second floor of the shrine. Why? Just because the fire dragon is a divine dragon? The fire python said angrily. What? It's actually the guardian of a miracle. Madman and the others looked at the fire python in shock. The ice dragon said angrily, You made a mistake and you still dare to argue with me. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just curious. Why do you still allow the fire dragon to make so many mistakes? As for me, I only made a small mistake, and you want to kill me? The fire python said in a low voice. You, the ice dragon glared at the fire python. A small guardian dared to talk back to him? Then you should know that you're only the guardian of the first and second floor, not the guardian of the third floor. You don't even have the authority to enter the third floor, let alone know about the situation of the shrine. The golden small beast said calmly. That's right. I don't have the authority, nor the qualifications. But I want to know, is it wrong for me to avenge my father? My father served you and was killed by the fire dragon. Did he deserve it? The fire python roared. At this moment, it gathered its courage, straightened its back, looked straight at the golden small beast and said the words that had been in its heart for a long time. The golden small beast didn't say anything. The ice dragon also seemed to be touched, frowned and didn't say anything. After a while, the golden small beast looked at the fire python and said calmly, "How about this? I won't pursue this matter, but if there's a next time." Hearing this, the fire python was overjoyed and hurriedly said, "There won't be a next time. If there really is a next time, there's no need for Lord Beast God to do anything, I'll do it myself." Very good. Also, from today onwards, you're not only the guardian of the first and second floor, but also the guardian of the third floor. You can freely enter and exit the shrine. The golden small beast waved its claw and a golden light entered the fire python's forehead. "Thank you, Lord Beast God." The fire python was overjoyed. It didn't think that it would be a blessing in disguise and become the guardian of the third floor. As a guardian, do your duty well. After saying that, the golden small beast disappeared with the ice dragon. "Farewell, Lord Beast God, Lord Ice Dragon." The fire python prostrated on the ground and respectfully called out. Madman retracted his gaze and walked in front of the fire python. He cupped his hands and smiled, "Congratulations, congratulations." The fire python was stunned and looked suspiciously at Madman. It seemed to be asking if this emperor knew him. "Qin Feiyang has long told me about your name, but we've never met before." Madman smiled. "Brother Qin?" The fire python was stunned and said, "You know Brother Qin?" "Of course. We're friends, partners who have gone through thick and thin together." Madman smiled and pointed at Yang Li, "He's also Qin Feiyang's subordinate." "Greetings, Lord Guardian." Yang Li bowed. The fire python nodded and looked at the burly man and said, "What about them?" "Them?" Madman looked at the six and said, "I don't know them." "I don't know them." The fire python nodded in realization and said indifferently, "Then get lost." Scram. The six's expression froze. On the other hand, Madman and Yang Li had gloating expressions on their faces. "Lord Guardian, why?" The straw-sandal old man looked at the fire python anxiously. "Why are there so many whys? I just don't like you guys." The fire python said indifferently. The six were stunned and felt bitter in their hearts. "What do you mean by not pleasing to the eye?" "It's because they have nothing to do with Qin Feiyang." Looking at Madman and Yang Li, one was Qin Feiyang's friend and the other was Qin Feiyang's subordinate. The fire python treated them so well. They never thought that Qin Feiyang would have such a good relationship with the guardian of the miracle. What kind of monster was this kid? His network was so huge. "Didn't you hear?" The fire python frowned. The six were anxious. It wasn't easy for them to enter the temple. If they were driven away like this, wouldn't they miss the inheritance of the power of laws? How unwilling would that be? The enchanting woman's eyes flashed and smiled, "Lord Guardian, to tell you the truth, it was Qin Feiyang who asked us to stay." The fire python looked at her suspiciously. The enchanting woman said, "If you don't believe me, you can ask Madman and Yang Li, is that so?" The fire python looked at Madman and Yang Li. The enchanting woman, the man in golden clothes, little demon child, the old man in straw shoes, the old woman in green robe, and the burly man immediately looked at Madman and Yang Li with a trace of pleading in their eyes. Madman looked at the six of them with a face full of ridicule. Aren't you very arrogant? Continue. How could the 6 of them dare to be arrogant now? The fire python was completely different from the fire dragon. Because the fire dragon wasn't a guardian. Although it could borrow the power of the mark, the power of the mark couldn't be compared with the power of rule force. The fire python was different. The fire python was now the guardian of hell. The guardian could control the power of rule force. The power of rule force was obvious to all. It could even kill a powerhouse at the level of ancestral dragon. In short, right now, the infernal king's hell was under the control of this fire python. Brother Madman, please, don't play with us, okay? The old man in straw shoes transmitted his voice. Really? Madman secretly said. If you're not playing with us, then what are you? The old man in straw shoes had a crying face. Then when you guys had evil thoughts, I didn't see you guys show any mercy. Madman sneered. Sorry, it's all our fault. Can't we apologize to you? The old man in straw shoes sighed. This one slip will cause everlasting regret. This is the result of going against us. No matter where, we have a lot of opportunities to make you guys suffer. Madman transmitted his voice. Yes. The old man in straw shoes repeatedly replied. Madman retracted his gaze and walked to the fire python's ear, whispering, the situation is like this. These 6 people, Qin Feiyang is interested in them. Madman briefly explained the situation to the fire python. So it's like this. The fire python suddenly understood. Looking at the 6 people, he secretly said in surprise, TSK, they are all imperishable stage powerhouses. So what if they are imperishable stage powerhouses? Not to mention that there is a guardian here, even in front of me in Qin Feiyang, the white-eyed wolf, they have to obediently lie down. Madman's face was full of disdain. The fire python's pupils shrank, and he transmitted his voice, although I'm a guardian, you heard the beast god's warning just now. I can't abuse my power. I know. Madman nodded. The fire python dryly coughed, looked at the 6 people, and said, all right, for Brother Qin's sake, this emperor won't make things difficult for you guys. Thank you, Lord Guardian. The 6 people were grateful. Madman was a bit speechless, and transmitted his voice, didn't you say that you can't abuse your power? Why did you say that? Is there a problem? The fire python was stunned. Of course there is a problem. You said that you won't make things difficult for them because of Qin Feiyang's face. What does this mean? This means that you're shielding Qin Feiyang. Furthermore, you're openly shielding him. What will others think of this? They will definitely think that you are abusing your power and siding with your own people. Madman was helpless. The fire python was stunned and nodded, that seems to be true. Madman shook his head and said, since you are now the guardian of hell, can you help find Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf? Find them? The fire python was stunned. Not long ago, they suddenly disappeared. Madman transmitted his voice. Suddenly disappeared? The fire python looked at Madman in shock and said, they didn't tell you that they were going back to Great Qin? What the hell? They are going back to Great Qin? Madman was shocked. That's right, they have already returned. This emperor is the one who sent them back. Just now, Lord Ice Dragon and Lord Beast God were investigating this matter. The fire python transmitted his voice. Those 2 bastards, they didn't even say anything before leaving. This daddy also wants to go to Great Qin to take a look. Madman cursed. Then I'm sorry, this emperor doesn't dare to send you out now. The fire python shook his head. If he did it again, it wouldn't be Lord Ice Dragon who killed him, but Lord Beast God himself. Chapter 2749. Great Qin Empire, Sea of Reincarnation. In the deepest part of the sea, there was an island. This island was called Demon Dragon Island. Back then, the battle between Qin Feiyang and the demon ancestor took place here. The entire island was destroyed in an instant. But after the battle ended, Qin Yuan used his great magic power to reform this island. In the center of Demon Dragon Island, there was an inland sea. In the depths of the sea, there was a blood-colored altar. This blood-colored altar was the second way to the miracle. Why was it the second way? Because the first way was the stone door that appeared when the miracle opened. For example, Qin Feiyang entered the miracle for the first time through this stone door. And now, Demon Dragon Island was also occupied by sea beasts. But, not a single sea beast dared to approach the center of the island. Because on the coast of the inland sea, there was a huge statue. It was a young figure. He looked to be in his 20s. His body was tall and he wore white clothes. His black hair was like a waterfall. His handsome face revealed a sense of fortitude. This statue was 10,000 feet tall and emitted an invisible force. It was like an overlord of heaven and earth, overlooking this continent. This statue was a godly figure in the great Qin Empire. Because this statue was Qin Feiyang. Swish! Suddenly, a man and a wolf silently appeared above the island. There was no suspense. They were Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. A man and a wolf stood in the sky, scanning the familiar island and sea below. They smiled and said, "We've finally returned to our homeland." Yes. I've been gone for hundreds of years. I wonder how everyone is now. The white-eyed wolf sighed. He missed this homeland and every friend, brother, and family on this homeland. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang noticed the statue standing by the sea. Swish! At that moment, he took a step forward and landed in front of the statue. He asked suspiciously, "Isn't this me?" "It's you. But why is there a statue of you? And it's too exaggerated. How are you so handsome in person?" The white-eyed wolf pursed his lips. "Am I not handsome in person?" Qin Feiyang frowned. "Are you handsome?" White-eyed wolf asked. Qin Feiyang snorted and said, "Not to mention others, at least he's more handsome than you." The white-eyed wolf's eyes were full of disdain. He looked at the statue and muttered, "This is really strange. I didn't see this statue when I left." Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze and smiled, "Let's go to the imperial city." "Wait a moment. It's boring to go back like this. No matter what, we have to give them a surprise." The white-eyed wolf's eyes darted around. Qin Feiyang cast a sidelong glance at the white-eyed wolf and said, "What rotten idea are you thinking of?" "Don't interrupt. I'll think about it carefully." The white-eyed wolf waved its claws. "Then take your time to think about it." After saying that, Qin Feiyang took a step forward and strolled in the air above the sea. "Wait for me!" White-eyed wolf shouted. "What's that sound?" Nearby, a gigantic sea beast was lying on the ground, taking a nap. Suddenly, it shuddered and opened its eyes, raising its head to look. When it saw the backs of Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf, the sea beast's eyes suddenly widened. How could it be them? Was it an illusion? The sea beast rubbed its eyes hard and looked up again. However, it found that the man and the wolf had disappeared. Looks like it was an illusion. The sea beast muttered and looked at the statue in the distance. Its eyes were full of reverence. Then, it closed its eyes and continued to take a nap. This sea beast's cultivation was a 9-star combat emperor. It was only one step away from the false god realm. A 9-star combat emperor was a peak existence in the great Qin Empire. However, in front of Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf, it was nothing. Even if they were just strolling in the air above the sea, these sea beasts could not really catch them with their cultivation. It was currently February, and the sea of reincarnation was filled with vitality. The sun in the sky was also emitting gentle and warm sunlight. Half a day passed. A small island entered the sight of Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. In his memory, this island was the Lu family's land. The white-eyed wolf scanned the island and laughed. I wonder how Lu Zheng and Xiaofan are doing now. Qin Feiyang laughed. A few hundred years have passed. I guess they even have a bunch of children now. A bunch of children? That's a bit exaggerated. The white-eyed wolf was stunned. Exaggerated? Didn't you see how anxious second grandpa was? He couldn't wait for Lu Zheng and Lu Hong to give birth to a bunch of children for him. Qin Feiyang said. A bunch of children? Do you think Xiaohong is a pig? The white-eyed wolf was speechless. Huh, Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback. Then he laughed and said, that's not a good word. The white-eyed wolf shook his head speechlessly and whispered, keep your voice down. Don't let others hear you. We're not here to be thieves. Qin Feiyang was displeased. Don't talk nonsense. From now on, you'll listen to me. The white-eyed wolf glared at Qin Feiyang. Then, under Qin Feiyang's gaze, he turned into an ordinary big black dog. The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth twitched. The white-eyed wolf waved his paw and condensed a face. He threw it to Qin Feiyang and said, put it on. Is it necessary? Qin Feiyang caught the mask, looking helpless. The white-eyed wolf said angrily, put it on. Why are you nagging? Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded and put the mask on his face. His whole face was covered, only revealing a pair of eyes. The white-eyed wolf looked at Qin Feiyang for a while and shook his head. It still won't work. Little Hongzi is too familiar with you. She doesn't need to look at your face. She can recognize you just by looking at your eyes. Then what else do you want me to do? Qin Feiyang was a little irritated. Change your little eyes a little. The white-eyed wolf said. I just like to mess around. Qin Feiyang shook his head. His eyes gradually changed. The sharpness disappeared, with a simple and honest aura. The white-eyed wolf looked at him for a moment and nodded with satisfaction. Not bad. Let's go. After that, he wagged his tail and flew toward the island. Qin Feiyang followed him helplessly. Boom. Crash. Roar. Suddenly, the sea on the left side was surging with waves. Then, a deafening roar sounded. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf were stunned. They stopped in their tracks and turned their heads to look. They saw a huge sea beast roaring out of the sea with a ferocious aura. Opposite the sea beast stood a young man. The young man was about 18 or 19 years old. He wore a pair of large underpants and his upper body was bare. His skin was dark and he was incomparably muscular. The young man's cultivation was not bad. 2-star war ancestor. 2-star war ancestor could only be considered an ant in the ancient world, but in the Great Qin, it was not bad. Especially a young man. It could be seen that his talent was extraordinary. As for the sea beast, its cultivation was a little higher than the young man's. It was a 4-star war ancestor. The sea beast glared at the young man and said, "Brat, you come here every day. Aren't you annoying?" The young man grinned and said, "If I'm annoyed, why would I come here every day to find you? Let's start." Okay. The sea beast nodded angrily and raised its huge tail to slap the young man. The young man chuckled and smashed the huge tail. Boom! Although the sea beast's cultivation was 2 small realms higher than the young man's, it was actually no match for the young man and was forced back by the young man's punch. The sea beast said in surprise, "Not bad, you've already broken through to 2-star war ancestor. I was lucky. I just broke through last night." The young man said. "Humph. You think you can defeat me just because you've broken through to 2-star war ancestor?" The sea beast snorted coldly. As its battle chi surged, a huge beast shadow appeared and pounced towards the young man. "High-grade battle technique? Good, good, good. You're finally willing to take out your trump card." The young man was extremely excited and roared, "Fire Phoenix first style, Fire Phoenix seal." Boom! Immediately, a palm-sized square seal appeared. It was surrounded by flames and emitted a powerful aura. The Fire Phoenix seal is indeed very powerful, but your Fire Phoenix seal is only an intermediate battle technique. The sea beast disdained. "Is that so?" The young man laughed sinisterly. The square seal immediately expanded in the wind and its aura increased by a large amount. "What? High-grade battle technique?" The sea beast was shocked. "That's right. Just when I broke through last night, I also happened to upgrade the Fire Phoenix technique to a high-grade battle technique." The young man laughed. "Then you're still inferior to this emperor? After all, this emperor is 2 small realms higher than you." The sea beast snorted coldly, and the beast shadow instantly attacked. The young man waved his hand, and the Fire Phoenix seal immediately shook the air as it charged towards the beast shadow. Boom! The 2 war spirits collided with a loud bang. The Fire Phoenix seal immediately shattered, and the beast shadow pounced in front of the young man. Just as the young man was about to die, the beast shadow suddenly stopped. "Kid, how is it?" The sea beast looked at the young man proudly. The young man snorted coldly, "Don't be complacent. Next time, I will definitely defeat you." The sea beast pursed its lips and said, "This emperor has heard you say this for decades. This time, I'm serious. Next time, I will definitely be able to do it." The young man looked at the sea beast unwillingly. "Fine, fine, fine. Then this emperor will wait for you to defeat this emperor next time." Scram! The sea beast waved its claws and said coldly. The young man pursed his lips and turned around to land on the beach. He looked back at the sea beast and said, "Then you really have to wait for me." "I know." The sea beast looked impatient. The young man grinned and was about to leave. But suddenly, a young girl ran out from the forest ahead. The young girl was even younger than the young man. She looked to be about 15 or 16 years old. She wore a light green dress and was a battle monarch. The young girl looked at the young man and said angrily, "I knew you would be here." The young man smiled embarrassedly and asked, "Little sister, why are you here?" The young girl said, "Dad asked me to look for you. He wants you to go back and plant rice." "I have to plant rice again." The young man's face immediately turned bitter. The young girl looked at the young man with sympathy. Then, she looked at the sea beast and bowed, "Greetings, Uncle Sea Beast. And you, little girl, are very polite. Unlike your brother, who caused trouble for this emperor the moment he arrived." The sea beast said. "What do you know? I want to become an expert like my uncle." The young man looked at the sea beast with yearning and desire in his eyes. "You? Stop dreaming. Although this emperor has never met your uncle, this emperor has heard of his deeds. He is the strongest existence in the Great Qin Empire. He is also the guardian of the Great Qin Empire. This emperor is not trying to discourage you, but no matter how hard you work, you won't be able to do it." The sea beast looked down on him. Chapter 2750. I can definitely do it. The young man stared at the sea beast angrily. You definitely can't. The sea beast pursed its lips. Let's continue. The young man roared, rubbing his fists and walking towards the sea beast. Not interested. Hurry up and go back to farming. Otherwise, when your father comes looking for you, your butt will be beaten again. The sea beast laughed gloatingly, then plunged into the sea and disappeared. Bastard! Just you wait, I will definitely defeat you tomorrow. The young man stared at the sea angrily. Brother, if you don't go back, I'm afraid father will beat you up until you can't get out of bed tomorrow. The girl giggled. You talk too much, little girl. The young man glared at the girl and ran forward. Whoosh! However, at this moment, a man and a dog appeared in front of him. The young man was stunned, stopped, looked at the man and the dog, and immediately shouted, "Who are you?" At the same time, he took a few steps back, protecting the girl behind him. The girl also looked at the man and the dog warily. Because these were two unfamiliar faces. This man and the dog were naturally Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. Originally, they were just here to watch the show. But they didn't expect that the young man actually had the fire phoenix technique. What did this mean? It meant that the young man was a disciple of the Liu family. And he was a direct descendant. This was because an inheritance like the fire phoenix incantation could only be inherited by disciples who possessed the direct bloodline. As for this girl, even if she was the young man's biological sister, she must be a member of the Liu family. Since she was a member of the Liu family, they were naturally interested. The white-eyed wolf looked at the brother and sister and asked, "What are your names?" His tone was a little cold. "What does it have to do with you? This is my Liu family's land, you'd better not behave atrociously here." The young man shouted. "Huh," the white-eyed wolf laughed and said, "Kid, you really have guts, daring to talk to your brother like this." The young man raised his eyebrows, looking at the cultivation of Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. Why did they seem to have no cultivation at all? Could they be mortals? That's not right. Why would mortals be here? You have to know. The sea beasts in the nearby sea area were all very powerful. Suddenly, the young man's eyes trembled as he whispered, "Little sister, be careful. This man and dog are probably pretending to be weak. Pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? Are you trying to humiliate us?" The white-eyed wolf frowned. "What? You can even hear that?" The young man was shocked. What's so surprising about that? The white-eyed wolf was speechless. With his and Qin Feiyang's current cultivation, coupled with the fact that they were so close to each other, he could only use sound transmission to hide from their ears. The young man looked at the girl and the wolf and suddenly shouted, "Little sister, run." Immediately, the young man released his aura and ferociously rushed towards Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. The girl also ran to the other side in a panic, intending to go around Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf to go home and ask for help. "You? Get down." The white-eyed wolf raised its claws and gently slapped at the young man. How would it dare to use force? With its cultivation, it could smash the young man into meat paste with just a little force. With a bang, the young man fell to the ground and ate a mouthful of sand. "Brother!" the girl exclaimed. "Hurry up and send a message to father and mother. Someone sent a message to our Liu family's land." The young man shouted. The girl gritted her teeth and ran away in horror. "Hey!" The white-eyed wolf bared its teeth and clawed at the air. The girl was also thrown back uncontrollably and finally rolled on the ground. So strong. The young man's pupils contracted. What's going on? At this time, the sea beast that dived into the sea rushed out of the sea and looked at the scene in surprise. "It's none of your business. Get lost," the white-eyed wolf said. Do you know where this is? How dare you come here to make trouble? The sea beast suddenly shouted angrily. Then do you know my strength? How dare you shout in front of me? The white-eyed wolf pointed its claws in the air and an invisible force pounced on the sea beast. The sea beast suddenly screamed and its huge body flew out, blood flowing from its body. Qin Feiyang said in his heart, "White-eyed wolf, don't you think you've gone too far? I didn't kill them. Why are you so agitated?" The white-eyed wolf pursed its lips. Nonsense. Qin Feiyang was speechless. The white-eyed wolf looked down at the siblings and said indifferently, "Now, can you answer our questions honestly? You're courting death." The sea beast flew back and shouted, "They're the descendants of the Lu family. Hurting them is going against the Lu family and the entire Great Qin." "Shut up." The white-eyed wolf stared. The sea beast shrank its neck. Just who were these two people? They even dared to provoke the Lu family. The white-eyed wolf shouted, "Answer me. What are your names?" The young man's eyes trembled and said, "My name is Lu Xiaofei. This is my sister, Lu Xiaojia." "Lu Xiaofei? Lu Xiaojia?" The white-eyed wolf murmured and asked, "Then who are your parents?" The young man said, "My father is Lu Zheng. My mother is Lu Hong." "What the hell?" The white-eyed wolf was astonished. Qin Feiyang was also stunned. This kid in front of him and this girl were actually Lu Zheng and Lu Hong's children? Although he had thought of this question, he was still a little surprised when two such big children suddenly popped out. However, after taking a closer look, Lu Xiaofei and Lu Zheng did resemble each other a little. Lu Xiaojia and Lu Hong also resembled each other a little. The sea beast took a deep breath and looked at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. It begged, "Please, let them go." The white-eyed wolf looked at the sea beast and asked in confusion, "Aren't you very annoyed with Lu Xiaofei? Why are you pleading for him? This kid is very annoying, but he is very kind. Like other people, when they see sea beasts like us, they will want to kill us, but Lu Xiaofei treats us as friends. If you don't believe me, you can go and ask. All the sea beasts within 100 miles of here know Lu Xiaofei's character." The sea beast said. The white-eyed wolf said, "You mean, you were just sparring before?" "Yes. Since he was young, he has been determined to become a peerless figure like his uncle, so he often comes to us to fight with him." The sea beast nodded. "Uncle?" The white-eyed wolf was stunned. He turned to look at Qin Feiyang and asked suspiciously, "Does Lu Hong have brothers?" "I don't think so." Qin Feiyang shook his head. The white-eyed wolf wondered, "If not, then why is there an uncle?" "How would I know?" Qin Feiyang said. The sea beast said, "You must have heard of the brother and sister's uncle." "Who is he?" "He is so amazing." The white-eyed wolf was curious. The sea beast said proudly, "The guardian of Great Qin, Qin Feiyang." "What the hell? Qin Feiyang? Qin Feiyang is their uncle?" The white-eyed wolf was stunned. Qin Feiyang was also stunned. This relationship was not right. Lu Zheng was his cousin. Logically speaking, Lu Zheng's children should also call him uncle. Why did he become their uncle now? The term uncle was reserved for the woman's brother, which was Lu Hong's elder brother or younger brother. Only then would they be called uncle. What was going on? The white-eyed wolf looked down at Lu Xiaofei and Lu Xiaojia and asked, "Is Qin Feiyang really your uncle?" "Of course." The brother and sister raised their heads, and there was a little pride on their faces. The white-eyed wolf snickered and said, "Little Qin Zi, it seems that they admire you very much. I'm wondering now. How did I become their uncle?" Qin Feiyang muttered. The white-eyed wolf thought, "Why don't we ask Lu Zheng and Xiao Hong? Then let's go." Qin Feiyang said telepathically. "What's the hurry? Didn't we agree to give them a surprise? The white-eyed wolf's eyes darted around. What else do you want to do? Qin Feiyang frowned. Just wait and see. The white-eyed wolf snickered and looked at Lu Xiaofei and Lu Xiaojia, saying, sorry, we happen to be your uncle's enemies. What? The brother and sister's faces turned pale. Uncle's enemies? The sea beast's expression also changed abruptly. It thought that the man and the dog would be scared when they heard the name Qin Feiyang. But it didn't expect that it would have the opposite effect. Qin Feiyang almost killed us once. We've been thinking about revenge, but we didn't expect to meet you today. It just so happens that we can collect some interest. The white-eyed wolf snickered. His cold tone and ferocious gaze made it seem like the real deal. What are you going to do? I'm telling you, don't dig your own grave. The sea beast shouted. The white-eyed wolf glanced at the sea beast and sneered. Go and tell Lu Zheng and Lu Hong that we're here for revenge. After that, the white-eyed wolf waved its claws, rolled up Qin Feiyang and the brother and sister, and turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the jungle ahead. Damn it! The sea beast roared and hurriedly flew to the center of the island. There was a village in the center of the island. Simple and plain houses were located in picturesque disorder on the mountains. In the village, the old people were leisurely drinking tea, playing chess, chatting, or basking in the sun. At the entrance of the village, a group of children gathered together, fooling around, playing, and laughing. Not far from the entrance of the village, there was a small stream. A group of women were also talking and laughing as they washed vegetables or clothes. Outside the village, there were large paddy fields, farms, vegetable fields, and orchards. Many men were working hard with bare arms. Although they were sweating like rain, their faces were full of happy smiles. This scene looked very simple and heartwarming. This was the Lu family. These were the people of the Lu family. This was a different rich family. They didn't pursue a luxurious life, but simplicity, and tranquility. Although they were all powerful, they were willing to live the life of an ordinary person. They had no desires and were dedicated to creating this enviable paradise. In one of the courtyards, a dignified woman in red was meticulously building the garden in the courtyard. Next to her, a man in black was lying on an armchair, drinking tea and basking in the sun while looking at the woman's back. He was still very young, but he was like an old man. However, his face was also full of satisfaction. With a wife like this life was enough. Chapter 27:51. Roar. Suddenly, a beast's roar broke the silence of the mountain village. The adults and children looked up and saw a huge sea beast flying over in a panic. How dare you? Do you know where this is? How dare you run over here? A middle-aged man put down the hoe in his hand and flew into the sky. He looked at the sea beast and shouted. There were too many children in the village. If a sea beast suddenly ran over, they would definitely stop it. What if it hurt the children in the village? I have something to talk to Lu Zheng about. The sea beast said. Lu Zheng? The middle-aged man was stunned. Swoosh. The man lying in the courtyard was also stunned. He immediately got up and took a step forward. He landed in front of the sea beast and asked, "Why are you looking for me?" That was right. He was Qin Feiyang's cousin, Lu Zheng. The sea beast said, Lu Xiaofei and his sister have been kidnapped. Lu Zheng was stunned. The middle-aged man next to him and the clansman below also looked at the sea beast in shock. You're joking with us, right? Who in the great Qin Empire dares to touch the descendants of the Lu family? The middle-aged man came back to his senses and said with a frown. The other clansmen also thought so. I'm not joking. Just a while ago, a masked man appeared with a big black dog. They said that they were Qin Feiyang's enemies. They also asked me to tell you that they're here to seek revenge. The sea beast said. Hearing this, Lu Zheng looked at the sea beast and said, "You're the sea beast who has been fighting with Xiaofei?" "That's me." The sea beast nodded. Lu Zheng's heart sank. He looked at the middle-aged man next to him and said in a deep voice, "Then it seems that it's true." The middle-aged man's face also darkened. He looked at the sea beast and asked, "Where did they take Xiaofei and Xiaojia?" "They seem to have entered the island. But I don't know where exactly because they're too fast. I can't even catch their shadows. But I think they must be hiding somewhere, secretly watching the Lu family and waiting for an opportunity to make a move." The sea beast said. Boom! Just as the sea monster finished speaking, a terrifying aura suddenly erupted from the village below. Following it was a bone-piercing cold current. It was originally February, but in an instant, it was as cold as the 12th lunar month. The entire village could not help but shudder. Including Lu Zheng. Everyone looked at the courtyard. He saw that the red-clothed woman had already stopped trimming the flower bed. She raised her head and stared at the sea beast, a bone-chilling cold air around her. Whoosh! The next moment, the red-clothed woman soared into the sky like a bolt of lightning and landed beside Lu Zheng. Lu Zheng hurriedly said, Don't be anxious, that was right. This woman was none other than Lu Hong." Scram! Lu Hong glared at Lu Zheng. Lu Zheng shrank back and retreated to the side. Although Lu Zheng was living a happy life now and had a son and a daughter, he was also known to be henpecked. Of course. To be exact, it was not a henpecked husband, but a kind of doting love for Lu Hong. Lu Hong looked at the sea beast and said coldly, "What do they look like?" The sea beast's battle chi surged, and two shadows appeared. They were Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf, but in disguise. Lu Hong looked at the two shadows. Lu Zheng, the middle-aged man, and the villagers below were also looking at the man and the dog. "I can't tell who this masked man is, but I have no impression of this big black dog at all." You've been following little cousin all this time. Did he have such an enemy before?" Lu Zheng frowned. "Definitely not. But we can't rule out the possibility that they've changed their appearance. Now is not the time to talk about this. Go and find them immediately. If we don't find little Fei, little Jia, don't come back." Lu Hong said. Okay. I'll go now, Lu Zheng nodded. He looked at the sea beast and said, "Quickly lead the way." The sea beast immediately turned around and ran toward the sea. "Brothers, keep up." Lu Zheng waved his hand, and the large group of men below immediately soared into the air. Together with Lu Zheng, they majestically surged towards the seaside. At this moment, they didn't hide anymore and all of them exuded a powerful aura. The Lu family never caused trouble, but they were never afraid of trouble. Anyone who dared to provoke the Lu family and hurt the descendants of the Lu family would have to pay the price even if they were God. At the same time, in a certain valley, Lu Xiaofei and his sister stood together, looking at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf in horror. The white-eyed wolf looked at Lu Xiaofei angrily and said, "Look at you. You're so useless." Lu Xiaofei was stunned. "Forget about your sister. After all, she's still young. But what about you? You seem to have lived for decades. Is that all you have? You're such a coward. Do you think you can become someone like your uncle? Dream on." The white-eyed wolf snorted coldly. "Why do you look down on me?" Lu Xiaofei suddenly roared. "Why? Because I'm familiar with your uncle." The white-eyed wolf said. "Familiar? Lu Xiaofei was stunned. Didn't I say just now that we're your uncle's enemies? Since we're enemies, we naturally know him well. You can't even think of this. Are you an idiot? The white-eyed wolf frowned. Lu Xiaofei looked somewhat embarrassed. The white-eyed wolf said, "Let me ask you. How old are you now?" 29. Lu Xiaofei said. 29, the white-eyed wolf muttered and asked, "What about your sister?" 15. Lu Xiaofei said. 15, the white-eyed wolf looked at Lu Xiaojia and said in surprise, "You've broken through to 1-star battle king at the age of 15. You're quite talented." Qin Feiyang also looked at Lu Xiaojia, feeling rather surprised. Entering 1-star battle king at the age of 15, this speed was unheard of. The white-eyed wolf said in his heart, "Little Qin Zi, when you were expelled and your cultivation was destroyed, you were a 9-star martial master?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang replied. The white-eyed wolf said telepathically, "Then, isn't her talent better than yours? Better than mine?" Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. He pondered for a while and said, "At that time, I was only 10 years old. If I hadn't been expelled from the imperial capital, at the age of 15, I think, I should be more than a 1-star battle king." "That's true." The white-eyed wolf nodded. Above martial master was martial grandmaster. Above martial grandmaster was battle king. Although there was still a big gap between them, with Qin Feiyang's talent, entering the battle king at the age of 15 was definitely a matter of time. After all, he was already a 9-star martial master at the age of 10. The white-eyed wolf looked at Lu Xiaofei again. 29 years old, 2-star battle saint, to be honest. After thinking about it carefully, Lu Xiaofei's talent was really shocking. The first step of cultivation, martial artist, martial master, martial grandmaster. The second step of cultivation, battle king, battle emperor, battle master, battle saint, battle the arch. In other words, Lu Xiaofei only used 29 years to break through 6 big realms. He was indeed quite powerful. The white-eyed wolf suddenly said, "Take off your clothes." "Take off my clothes?" Lu Xiaofei was stunned. He immediately covered his clothes and said in horror, "What do you want to do?" "Damn! What's with your expression? Don't tell me I'll take advantage of you. I just want to see if you have a potential mark on your chest." The white-eyed wolf was speechless. Lu Xiaofei said in surprise, "You also know about the potential mark?" "Nonsense. Of course I know." The white-eyed wolf said. "That's true. After all, you are my uncle's enemy. I admit that I have opened the door of potential." Lu Xiaofei nodded. "As expected." The white-eyed wolf whispered. "Back then, when Qin Feiyang left, he left behind the pill formulas for the potential pill, small creation pill, and big creation pill. These 4 pills were all used to open the door of potential. Although Qin Feiyang had given these pill formulas to Emperor Hong at that time, with the relationship between the Lu family and the Qin clan, there was no need for the Lu family to say anything. They would take the initiative to copy a pill formula and send it to the Lu family. Now that he thought about it, opening the door of potential and cultivating to a 2-star war master at the age of 29 was actually not that surprising. The white-eyed wolf looked at Lu Xiaofei and said, "Do you think that it's amazing to cultivate to a 2-star war master at the age of 29? Did I say that?" Lu Xiaofei felt wronged. He just stood there and didn't say anything. "Humph. Although I didn't say it, that's what I thought in my heart. Do you know what your uncle was doing when he was 29 years old?" The white-eyed wolf said. "Of course I know. Mother, father, and a few grandpas often talk about uncle's deeds." Lu Xiaofei said proudly. "So you know. Not to mention 29 years old, when your uncle was 15 years old, he was alone and wandering outside alone. Can you imagine what kind of experience this is for a 15-year-old person? 15 years old, just like your sister, is still just a child. Other children of this age are still acting spoiled in front of their parents. However, your uncle has already begun to face schemes and intrigues. Look at you. You're already 29 years old, but you're still growing up under the protection of your parents. Do you think that you can become a big shot like your uncle? The white-eyed wolf's face was full of disdain. I want to go out and train, but my father, mother, and a few grandpas don't agree. What can I do? Even when I go to find the sea beasts nearby to train, I have to hide it from them. Lu Xiaofei felt wronged. Why is that? Going out to train is good for you. The white-eyed wolf was doubtful. Mother said that people of her generation have been living too hard, and she doesn't want us, the later generations, to live such a life. Lu Xiaofei said. Understanding dawned on the white-eyed wolf. So, it's because she can't bear for you to leave. However, thinking about it, it makes sense. Mothers love their children dearly. No one would be willing to let their children wander outside without anyone to rely on. Why does it seem that you not only know my uncle, but also my mother? Lu Xiaofei looked at the white-eyed wolf suspiciously. Nonsense. Back then, your mother was always by your uncle's side. Of course, I know her. The white-eyed wolf rolled his eyes at Lu Xiaofei. That's true. Lu Xiaofei nodded. But he felt a little strange. Didn't they say that they were his uncle's enemies? Why did they seem to care about him now? Chapter 2752. There's a valley over there. Let's go take a look. Suddenly. Not far away, a shout could be heard. The white-eyed wolf was slightly taken aback. He chuckled and said, I didn't expect you to find us so quickly. You're not talking nonsense. They are the children of Lu Zheng and Lu Hong. They are Grandpa's great-grandchildren. How can they not be anxious? Qin Feiyang said secretly as he glared at the white-eyed wolf. The white-eyed wolf grinned. Whoosh! Very soon. More than a dozen men dressed as farmers flew above the valley. Xiaofei, Xiaojia. When they saw the brother and sister pair, the dozen or so people were overjoyed. However, when they saw Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf, their faces immediately darkened. Who exactly are you? More than a dozen people landed in the valley and shouted at the man and wolf. Uncle he, Uncle you. Lu Xiaofei and his sister looked at the two burly men standing at the front and were overjoyed. Don't be afraid. We're here. The middle-aged man who was called Uncle he comforted them. Is there any use for you to be here? The white-eyed wolf looked at the group of people. The strongest was only a 3-star combat emperor. Do you know where this place is? Uncle he said in a deep voice. Isn't this the Lu family? If we didn't know, we wouldn't have come. The white-eyed wolf rubbed his nose and looked at the Lu siblings. Open your eyes wide and see what a true expert is. All of you, lie down. Boom! A terrifying imperious aura burst out from his body. Uncle he and more than a dozen people immediately lay on the ground, unable to move. So strong? The siblings were extremely shocked. Even a combat emperor couldn't fight back in front of this big dog. You're courting death. My Lu family has a combat god. Uncle he roared. A combat god is still an ant. The white-eyed wolf's face was full of disdain. Such big words? The group of people was shocked. Could it be that this man and dog were also combat gods? In the past, false gods were the strongest in Great Qin. But now, people like Lu Hong and Lu Zheng had already become warlords. His grandfathers had also suppressed their cultivation to the semi-divinity realm. Furthermore, there were medicinal pills that could unlock the door to potential. Over the past few hundred years, even the Lu family's clansmen's cultivation had improved greatly. It could be said that, the Lu family's current strength was countless times stronger than before. The younger generation was also full of talents. What do you want to do to my son and daughter? Suddenly, a furious roar was heard. A black-clothed man broke through the air like a bolt of lightning, his aura terrifying beyond compare. It was Lu Zheng. Divine might spread out in all directions, causing the mountains and the earth to tremble. Little cousin. Qin Feiyang looked up at Lu Zheng and muttered to himself. His eyes were filled with excitement. After hundreds of years, they finally met again. Compared to the young and frivolous man he used to be, the current Lu Zheng exuded a calm and steady aura. True enough. Men who got married and had children would slowly change. Initial stage warlord? The white-eyed wolf was stunned. With its cultivation, it could naturally see Lu Zheng's current cultivation at a glance. Why was he still at the initial stage warlord level after so many years? This brat must have been thinking about being intimate with Lu Hong all day and had forgotten to cultivate. You get down too. The white-eyed wolf waved its paw, and a vast aura instantly surged toward Lu Zheng. With a bang, Lu Zheng immediately fell into the valley like a meteor and smashed into the ground. No way. Uncle He and the others were dumbfounded. Lu Xiaofan and his sister were also filled with disbelief. Their father was the most powerful person in the Great Qin Empire, but now, he was actually insta-killed by a big black dog? This was completely beyond their imagination. Lu Zheng was also shocked. To be able to crush him so easily, the cultivation must be at least at the initial stage warlord level. When did such a terrifying expert appear in the Great Qin Empire? Moreover, it was a big black dog. If even this big black dog was so strong, then wouldn't the masked man standing next to it be even stronger? Patriarch. Accompanied by a series of exclamations, groups of people flew over from all directions. They were all members of the Lu family. When they heard the commotion, they immediately rushed over, but they didn't expect to see such a scene. Patriarch? The white-eyed wolf was stunned. Qin Feiyang was also stunned. This unreliable guy actually became the patriarch of the Lu family? Patriarch, are you all right? A few hundred people entered the valley and surrounded Lu Zheng. I'm fine. Lu Zheng waved his hand, looked at Qin Feiyang, and then looked at the white-eyed wolf and said, "Thank you for showing mercy." It was obvious that if this big black dog wanted to kill him, it could do so with a wave of its paw. The grandfathers of the Lu family actually let you be the patriarch. Aren't they afraid that the Lu family will be destroyed in your hands? The white-eyed wolf joked. Hearing this, Lu Zheng's face immediately darkened, and he said, "Sir, you can despise me, but you can't doubt my ability." The white-eyed wolf shook his head and said, "I really don't know what ability you have except to show off and pick up girls." Lu Zheng's face was extremely gloomy. But then again, this is also a kind of ability. Otherwise, how could you have won Lu Hong's heart and given birth to 2 children? The white-eyed wolf said. Hearing this, Lu Zheng instinctively showed a trace of pride. Let go of my children. Let go of our great-grandson and great-granddaughter. Boom! At this time, accompanied by a series of angry roars, more than a dozen people flew over aggressively. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked up, a little dazed. The leader was Lu Hong. Although she was a married woman, she still looked like a young girl, but compared to before, she now looked more dignified and beautiful. Behind her, there were 4 old men, all with white hair. They were the 4 grandfathers of the Lu family. The first grandpa was Qin Feiyang's grandfather, Lu Yun. The second grandpa, third grandpa, and fourth grandpa, there was no need to say much. Whether it was Qin Feiyang or the white-eyed wolf, they were all very familiar with them. And behind Lu Hong and the four grandfathers, there was a group of people. Qin Feiyang was also familiar with these people. They were the hidden experts of the Lu family. When the thieving heaven realm was revived, it was also them who worked together to revive it. Looking at these familiar faces, Qin Feiyang's eyes moistened on the spot. Ahem. Calm down, don't show any flaws. The white-eyed wolf said telepathically. How long are you going to play? Qin Feiyang said angrily. Don't worry. The white-eyed wolf smiled secretly. Whoosh. Lu Hong, Lu Yun, and the others landed in the valley. Looking at Lu Zheng's sorry state, their hearts sank. Lu Zheng said suspiciously, Grandpa, second grandpa, why are you all here? Lu Zheng's grandpa was naturally Qin Feiyang's grandfather, Lu Yun. After such a big thing happened, we still have the mood to meditate? Lu Yun glared at Lu Zheng, then looked up at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf, and said, Who are you? Don't care who we are. We are here for revenge. The white-eyed wolf said. Lu Hong frowned and said, What kind of hatred do you have with Feiyang? A blood feud. So you have to pay with the lives of all the Lu family members. The white-eyed wolf's eyes flashed with killing intent. I'm afraid you don't have the ability. Lu Hong's face was as cold as frost, and her aura rolled out. Hong, no. Lu Zheng hurriedly shouted. Continue to lie on the ground. The white-eyed wolf waved its claws, and Lu Zheng lay on the ground again. So strong. Lu Yun and the others were shocked. The white-eyed wolf looked at Lu Hong and said, Come on, let me see how much your strength has improved. Boom! Divine power rolled out, and Lu Hong slapped at the white-eyed wolf. The white-eyed wolf raised its claws and gently tapped Lu Hong's palm. At that moment, Lu Hong froze. Immediately after, her whole body retreated, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. White-eyed wolf, what are you doing? Qin Feiyang secretly shouted. The white-eyed wolf was also a little caught off guard, and said with an embarrassed smile, I didn't control my strength well. I'll pay attention next time, there's a next time. The anger in Qin Feiyang's heart immediately flared up, and he directly kicked the ingrate away. Looking at this scene, Lu Hong and the others were all suspicious. Internal strife? What was going on? Bastard, what are you doing? The white-eyed wolf rolled on the ground, got up, and glared at Qin Feiyang. You've been fooling around for so long, it's about time. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at it, looked at Lu Zheng, Lu Hong, and finally fixed his eyes on Lu Yun. Then, he quickly walked towards Lu Yun. What are you doing? Lu Hong quickly stood in front of Lu Yun, her face full of vigilance. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Did this little girl think that he was going to hurt Lu Yun? For a moment. The others were also very nervous. The strength of the big black dog was obvious to all, but this person could kick it away, no doubt he was even stronger. They couldn't help but feel a sense of despair in their hearts. Tada! Qin Feiyang walked step by step to Lu Hong, looked at her for a long time, suddenly smiled at Lu Hong, and reached out to push Lu Hong away. Smile? Lu Hong was stunned. He actually smiled at her. And the smile in his eyes was so familiar, immediately. Qin Feiyang flopped and knelt in front of Lu Yun. At this moment, everyone was dumbfounded again. Why did he kneel? What was going on? Lu Yun herself was also stunned. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and said respectfully, Grandson greets grandpa. Everyone was stunned. Grandson, grandpa? Second grandpa, third grandpa, and fourth grandpa couldn't help but cast a suspicious look at eldest grandpa. But eldest grandpa was also puzzled. What's going on? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Why did they all have such a reaction? Wait a minute. Suddenly. He patted his head, but his voice didn't change back. Previously, in order to cooperate with the white-eyed wolf, he changed his voice. A strange voice suddenly calling himself grandson and calling him grandpa would definitely make people confused. Cough, cough. Qin Feiyang coughed, changed back to his original voice, and said again, grandson greets grandpa. This voice, at this moment. Lu Hong, Lu Zheng, Lu Yun, second grandpa, third grandpa, fourth grandpa, and those hidden experts all looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. They would never be able to forget this voice. Little sister, what's going on? Look at their reaction, it's so strange. Lu Xiaofei at the side whispered. I don't know. Lu Xiaojia shook her head, also puzzled. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.